Things kicked off with a woman looking at a boy with lust. The boy groaned as he woke up. He discovered the woman on top of him and freaked out. He quickly jumped out of bed instinctively. The woman can't believe that the drugs she used wore off quickly. She found the boy more attractive now that he was awake. The protagonist, Chu Qing, stared in a daze and realized that he had been reborn. 300 years ago, he accidentally entered the fairy realm and became a cultivator. He worked hard as a swordsman cultivator. Just when he was making a breakthrough to reach the realm of eternity, he accidentally entered the Hall of Space and Time and found himself back on Earth when he was 17 years old. However, he doesn't know why he was with a woman who was ready to gobble him up. Chu Qing apologizes as he wears a shirt. The woman named Ye Chenxi claimed that she doesn't let go of her prey. Chu Qing ignored her words, and Ye Chenxi got offended. She grabbed Chu Qing's arm, and our protagonist realized how strong Ye Chenxi was. Chu Qing grabbed Ye Chenxi with his other hand and released cultivation energy, but his current body didn't have enough energy. Chu Qing got repelled off and discovered his uniform. He grabbed them and dashed outside, leaving Ye Chenxi, who was impressed that a boy had escaped from her. She swore to never let go of Chu Qing. Chu Qing finally got outside and looked around. He was glad to return to Earth after 300 long years. Just then, he noticed a woman scolding a man who wanted the woman to buy him a bag. The couple left, and Chu Qing was pushed aside by a huge woman working at a nearby construction site with either woman. Chu Qing noticed something wrong. He looked around and noticed that people were acting differently compared to his world before. In the nearby library, Chu Qing found out that a cataclysm happened during ancient times, altering the physiology of women and making them smarter and stronger. A woman named Kong Mo was born and created the ideology that women are far superior to men. It is already the 21st century, and men are seen as inferiors. A man was to blame during extramarital affairs, and it was normal for women to chase men. Chu Qing can't believe the world has become reversed compared to before. Chu Qing went back home and was happy to discover his father, quickly hugging him. Lin Yuantu wondered why Chu Qing was back home early. Suddenly, he sniffed women's perfume on his son and warned Chu Qing that it was dangerous for a handsome man like him to get tangled with random women. He reminded Chu Qing about the news of a boy getting taken advantage of. He was worried about Chu Qing's future, unlike Chu Qing's sister, who was known to be jobless. Chu Qing then asked for his mother's whereabouts. Lin Yuantu explained that she was still working. Chu Qing then mentioned checking on his older sister. He sneakily opened the door to his sister's room and took a peek. His sister Chu Xiao was busy watching something online with a tissue for certain purposes on the side. Chu Qing closed the door, wondered if he was in a dream, and screamed like a madman, surprising his busy sister. Frustrated, Chu Xiao wondered what was wrong and came out of her room. Chu Qing briefly glared at her and asked if she was watching porn. Chu Xiao confidently corrected him, saying that it is the age of live broadcasting nowadays. She told her little brother that things like these were not for him and left a distraught Chu Qing. That night, Chu Xiao asked Lin Yuantu for money to eat outside. Lin Yuantu feels frustrated that the jobless Chu Xiao is making up reasons like starting a business with her friends. He scolded Chu Xiao and compared her to her brother. Nevertheless, he gave Chu Xiao the money she asked for and reminded her to save some money sometimes. Chu Qing wondered if it was fine to let her go. But Lin Yuante claimed it was fine as long as she stayed out of trouble. Chu Qing fully realized what the world had become. Just then, the door opened, and Chu Tianan appeared. Chu Qing quickly ran over to hug his mother. Chu Tianan wondered if Chu Qing wanted an allowance and gave him a lot. Chu Qing couldn't believe his stingy mother was being generous. He tried to return it, but Chu Tianan told him to keep it as long as he studied hard. He observed how his father was behaving towards his mom, and found it very awkward and repulsive that his mom was the main earner of the family, while his father was shouldering the duties typically associated with a wife. He wondered if his own life would follow a similar path. Unable to tolerate the scene any longer, he left his parents and retreated to his room. Inside his room, he opened a drawer and discovered several letters. He realized that he had been the school flower during his time at secondary school. Feeling irritated, he planned to cultivate and leave the reversed world. Since the world's aura was rich and pure, Chu Qing started cultivating it so he could open the Hall of Space and Time. This was all to return to his original world and get away from the one he wandered into. Hours passed by, and Chu Qing noticed how his senses had sharpened. He tested out his skills and checked his parents' and sister's rooms. Seeing that her sister was not home yet, Chu Qing remembered that he was in a reversed world where girls could be outside all they wanted. Just then, his sister called and asked Chu Qing to listen. Chu Xiao claimed that she was in trouble. She asked Chu Qing not to tell their parents or the police. Chu Qing wondered what happened. but Chu Xiao told him to bring her black bag to a certain bar. A woman then took over the conversation and threatened to harm Chu Xiao. The call ended, and Chu Qing wore a frightening expression. He quickly got the bag and leaped out of the apartment building, swearing not to let anyone mess with his family. He then jumped on the roofs like a ninja. At the bar, Chu Qing arrived and threw the bag on a table. He asked the blue-haired woman to let Chu Xiao go. The woman got interested in Chu Qing, but our protagonist ignored her words and opened the bag full of money. Chu Xiao wondered why there was money in there, but Chu Qing didn't even know why. Chu Xiao then told Zhou, the leader of the women around, that a person named Lin asked her to keep the bag for a while. Zhou got mad since Lin Xiaowan stole her money and ordered her goons to let Chu Xiao go. Chu Xiao thanked Zhou and grabbed Chu Qing. However, Zhou stopped them since she wanted her cute little brother. Chu Xiao covered for Chu Qing and threatened Zhou to let her brother go. Zhou laughed out loud and claimed that only one of the siblings could go. Chu Xiao then offered herself and asked Chu Qing to go home first, since it was not safe for a man to solve the situation. Chu Qing moved his sister aside and kicked the table as he asked if Zhou really wanted him to remain. Everyone was shocked to see a rowdy male in front of them. Zhou swore to torture Chu Qing on her bed. Just then, Chu Qing slapped Zhou, much to Chu Xiao's shock. Zhou fought back with a punch, but Chu Qing blocked it with a punch too. After being pushed back, Chu Qing found the reverse world's female strength interesting. Zhou ordered her goons to attack Chu Qing. Chu Qing quickly dodged and started a spinning attack like a Beyblade. Everyone fell to the ground, and Chu Qing held his sister. Suddenly, Zhou pointed a gun toward the siblings. Chu Xiao covered for Chu Qing. Zhou swore to kill the two of them. Chu Qing's expression suddenly got serious, but just then, the door opened. A familiar, beautiful woman suddenly appeared. Ye Chengxi cheerfully greeted Chu Qing, who suddenly had a flashback to the scenes from the first chapter. He wondered why she was there, and Ye Chengxi claimed that she owned the place. She ordered Zhou to scram, but Zhou claimed that Ye Chengxi was breaking the rules. Ye Chengxi's expression darkened, and she ordered her bodyguards to cut Zhou's limbs and throw her outside. Ye Chengxi wondered if Chu Qing liked her present. Chu Qing wondered why she was being kind to him, and Ye Chengxi claimed that Chu Qing was the first man to ever talk back to her. Ye Chengxi claimed Chu Qing as her boyfriend number 36. Chu Qing declined after hearing that. Ye Chengxi was worried that a frail-looking boy like Chu Qing would end up as a prostitute. Chu Qing smirked and wondered if Ye Chengxi was stronger than her. Chu Xiao got worried for her brother. Chu Qing suggested they play a game together to see who was stronger. The deal was that if he won, Ye Chengxi wouldn't disturb him anymore, but if Ye Chengxi won, Chu Qing would become her boyfriend. They soon began the game. While women in this world are extraordinary and see men as insignificant, Ye Chengxi surprised Chu Qing with her extraordinary strength. However, Chu Qing seeks to prove that he isn't an ordinary man. Chengxi was caught off guard as Chu Qing slammed her arm on the table. Chu Hai reminded Ye Chengxi about their bet and dragged his sister away with him. Ye Chengxi's aura suddenly became intimidating. A guard offered her help to chase Chu Qing, but Ye Chengxi slapped her while claiming that she still hadn't lost to Chu Qing yet. She called out to Chu Qing and offered it to her husband so no one could ever touch him. Chu Qing claimed that men don't need women's protection at all, making the others think that he was crazy. Ye Chengxi exclaimed that women are the pillars of the world, and everyone agreed that fewer men were excelling in all fields. Chu Qing confronted Ye Chengxi and exclaimed that men can strive and fight to get better and get women as rewards instead. Ye Chengxi can't help but smile while watching Chu Qing leave the bar. Because Chu Qing was her type, she swore not to let him go. A guard reminded her about something, but Ye Chengxi just brushed it off. On the way home, Chu Xiao wondered if Chu Qing would tell their parents about what happened. Of course, Chu Qing will tattle on her, and Chu Xiao can't believe that she is being threatened. She then wondered how Chu Qing suddenly got strong. She also mentioned how it would be great to marry Ye Chengxi since she was the heiress of an important family. Chu Qing told her sister to shut up. Back at home, while Chu Qing was practicing his skills, he discovered his perverted sister and her crazy antics again. The next day at school, Chu Qing heard a familiar voice near the entrance. It was his best friend, Lin Dong, running like a fragile woman. Oozing with femininity, Lin Dong wondered if something had happened to Chu Qing. Our protagonist quickly backed off and escaped since this world's Lin Dong was not his friend at all. Chu Qing can't stand the reversed world anymore. Just then, a female classmate named Song Chaoran checked to see if Chu Qing was feeling fine. Chu Qing claimed that he was just hungry. Song Chaoran shyly offered her food, but another classmate with a gorilla face stopped her. She pushed aside Song Chaoran and clung to Chu Qing. Chu Qing pushed the girl away and exuded killing intent. The girl tried to hurt Chu Qing as revenge, but someone intervened. A pretty boy named Ye Mao appeared and told the girl to stay away from him. He then asked Chu Qing for a conversation. He apologized for what happened the other day with his sister. In a flashback, he had his sister, Ye Chenxi, give Chu Qing a ride back home. During the ride, Ye Chenxi gave Chu Qing a drink that made him fall asleep. Ye Mao apologized upon realizing late about his sister's plans. Chu Qing told Ye Mao not to think much about it. After classes, Ye Chenxi appeared near the school gate to give Chu Qing a ride. Chu Qing couldn't believe that he was being stalked. Ye Chenxi then mentioned to Chu Qing his family's safety. In the end, Chu Qing complied, but he claimed that Ye Chenxi made a mistake by messing with his family. To scare her off, Chu Qing lightly tapped a car decoration and shattered it. He then moved over on top of Ye Chenxi, reminding her about the consequences. Ye Chenxi corrected herself and mentioned that she could help Chu Qing's family business get back on its feet. Chu Qing wondered if Ye Chenxi was acting sympathetic, but Ye Chenxi only wanted to pursue Chu Qing's heart. Chu Qing agreed to start off as friends and reminded Ye Chenxi not to annoy him. While driving, Ye Chenxi asked if Chu Qing practiced old martial arts. Chu Qing debunked that idea, saying men were considered weak. Ye Chenxi figured that out since she already did a background check on Chu Qing's family history, free of martial artists. Chu Qing then stared at her. Just then, I noticed a truck, but it was too late. Their car crashed and was thrown off the road. Ye Chenxi opened her eyes and discovered an injured Chu Qing protecting her. She got worried, but Chu Qing grabbed her and busted the door open. The two came out of the car, and Ye Chenxi suggested going to the hospital. However, Chu Qing claimed that it was not over. A group of women came out of the truck. Ye Chenxi confronted them since they hurt her man. She fought the woman all alone. One slipped away and ran toward Chu Qing. Chu Qing used a bit of energy and knocked out the attacker. He then saw Ye Chenxi being outnumbered, and with a weapon in his hand, he joined the fight. Chu Qing surprised everyone as he slashed multiple attackers. Ye Chenxi then struck the remaining ones and knocked them out. Ye Chenxi commended Chu Qing, but it was nothing for him. Ye Chenxi then planned to investigate the matter. She then asked Chu Qing for dinner, but Chu Qing claimed that his father would get worried. Ye Chenxi got a call and shouted in disbelief. Chu Qing wondered if it was about the Ye family, but he didn't care at all. Just then, Ye Chenxi grabbed Chu Qing and asked her not to go since her mother was also attacked in the same way as them. Chu Qing realized that this was not a simple coincidence. Ye Chenxi was worried that her mom might die, and that her aunt could kick her out of the Ye family. Chu Qing tried to calm her down, and Ye Chenxi felt assured by Chu Qing's words. She then hugged him tightly, and the two soon arrived at the Ye family's residence. When they got there, they found the entrance blocked by guards per Ye Chenxi's aunt's orders. Chu Qing said he was a doctor checking on Ye Chenxi's mom, but they doubted him because he was a man claiming to be a doctor. Luckily, Chu Qing had learned medicine in the fairy world. He looked at the security guards and accurately diagnosed their health issues, shocking everyone. They finally let him in. However, Ye Chenxi's aunt, Ye Mei, and her daughter, Ye Meier, stopped them. Ye Chenxi wondered where her mom was. Ye Mei called Ye Chenxi rude, and couldn't believe she brought a man home since they were banned from their family. She told Chu Qing he had to prove himself before he could enter the Ye family. Ye Mei asked her daughter, Ye Meier, to test Chu Qing's skills. Ye Mei set up this plan to frame Chenxi by making it seem like he had done something wrong. Her goal was to get Ye Chenxi to help Chu Qing while Ye Meier hurt him, breaking the rules of the Ye family. Ye Meier's condition was that if she won a fight against Chu Qing, he would have to spend the night with her. Even though Ye Chenxi objected, Chu Qing agreed and told them to start the fight. Ye Meier attacked first, but Chu Qing dodged and knocked her out with one hit. This surprised Ye Mei, who started complaining. After that, Chu Qing and Ye Chenxi went inside to meet Ye Chenxi's mom. In her room, Ye Chenxi's mom, not sure if he could really help, asked him to leave them alone for a while. With a quick glance, he figured out her condition. This made Ye Chenxi's mom ask everyone else to leave the room so she could talk to him alone. She thought Chu Qing was from the Li family and questioned his intentions towards Ye Chenxi. But he said he's just a friend of Ye Chenxi, not from the Li family. She believed him and showed him her wound. Chu Qing was surprised to see the wound had gotten worse. He explained that although she could manage it for now, it would harm her organs in 5 days. He placed his hand over the wound and started absorbing it, but his current abilities didn't let him absorb all of it. Chenxi's mother felt relieved seeing him try and thanked him for helping. While he was on his way home, he noticed the wound on his palm that he had absorbed. Unfortunately, he couldn't get rid of it given his current abilities. He remembered an elixir from the fairy world that worked for injuries like this, but he wasn't sure if it existed in this world. The next day at school, he saw Tang Xian playing basketball, with all the boys watching her admirably. Back in his original world, Tang Xian had been his crush during prep school, but she didn't recognize him here. Surprisingly, she walked over to him and challenged him to a basketball game. He agreed and took the ball from her. She proposed a bet. If she won, he would be her boyfriend, and if he won, she would do whatever he asked. The game started. She quickly scored her first point, leaving Chu Qing shocked. She got hold of the ball once more and tried scoring another point, but he blocked her shot and took control of the ball. He then said it was his turn and made an impressive jump to score a point from quite a distance. This secured his win. Feeling victorious, he mustered the courage to ask her out on a date. Her response was a playful challenge. She told him to get stronger first if he wanted that date. Later, back at the Ye family mansion, Chenxi wanted to know how to thank Chu Qing for saving her and her mom. Chu Qing grinned and asked for some time to think, coming up with some amusing ideas. Unbeknownst to her, helping Chenxi's mom had actually boosted his progress in cultivating his pure aura and spiritual strength. He had a strong determination to fully heal Chenxi's mom the next time around, in order to completely awaken his spiritual body. While he was walking home, Li Yue came across him and warned him to steer clear of Tang Xian. However, Chu Qing paid no attention to the threats. This made Li Yue angry, and he tried to physically confront Chu Qing. But Chu Qing skillfully avoided the confrontation, defeating both him and his female bodyguards. Chu Qing couldn't understand why Tang Xian wanted to marry someone as unintelligent as Li Yue. This made him think about investigating the situation. He remembered Chenxi's offer of a reward and decided to ask her for a private investigator. Chu Qing waited at the bar for the private investigator to arrive. A young woman named Chen Huahua came up to him and introduced herself as the investigator. He was surprised because she looked too young for the job. Chen Huahua asked about his relationship with Chenxi and even flirted with him, jokingly asking him to be her boyfriend. This made Chu Qing feel awkward, so he quickly shifted to the main reason he was there. He asked her about Tang Xian's family. Chen Huahua told him that Tang's family was a big deal in the city, owning most of the major businesses. But recently, they had run into some problems, and their finances were not stable. To help them out, the Li family proposed a marriage between Li Yue and Tang Xian. This surprised Chu Qing because Tang Xian had never mentioned any of this before. Curious, Chu Qing also asked Chen Huahua about alchemy and whether alchemic families existed in this world. To his surprise, she said that the Tang family was one of those alchemic families, known for making elixirs and medicines. He was intrigued and wanted to know more. She explained to him about the two main types of alchemy known to people: common alchemy, which involved using inner power to make elixirs, and another type that used spiritual energy. She mentioned that the second type was beyond her expertise. This made him wonder if there were others like him in this world. Wanting to know more, he tried to ask questions, but she made a playful deal. She'd share more info if he had dinner with her. Agreeing, he followed her to a small restaurant. He was surprised when she ordered pork skewers and beer, and he noticed other women ordering the same. It then hit him again that this world was the opposite of what he was used to. As the evening went on, Chen Huahua got more and more drunk. Seeing her state, he took her home and laid her gently on her bed. Just as he was about to leave, she grabbed his hand and asked him to stay. After getting some sleep, Chu Qing picked up Chen Huahua's phone and started looking for more information. He opened a document about confidential transactions and found out about an auction house where they sold rare items. He thought about something valuable she could auction to make a lot of money in this world. A few days later, Chu Qing practiced cultivation and got hold of a spiritual rock. These rocks were special because they helped with training and learning old martial arts. You could get them from specific sources like veins or by cultivating eternity. Since these rocks were really rare in this world, Chu Qing decided to auction the one he had. Chu Qing also went to Chenxi's family place and healed her mother completely. In return, Chenxi's mother promised to help him if he ever had any problems. On his way back home, Chu Qing realized he needed to focus on his cultivation to fully restore his spiritual body. Out of the blue, Chenxi stopped him one day and kissed him as a way to thank him for helping her mom. She promised to give him an even better gift in the future. Back home, Chu Qing continued to work on his cultivation until he finally managed to revive his spiritual body. And in the process, he even summoned a sword. Out of nowhere, Chu Xiao burst into his room. He's undressed, so he hurriedly covered up and hid the sword. She said sorry and left, thinking her brother was doing something private. Chu Qing got dressed and went to the auction house to sell a spiritual rock. Jia Yu, who's in charge there, saw the rock and offered a lot of money on the spot. Back home, Chu Qing thought that if he built a big group of businesses with this money, He could eventually control the auction and the martial arts world. He gets a message from Chen Huahua asking to meet for a drink. On his way there, someone suddenly attacks him. He grabs his sword and quickly attacks the person. The person begs for mercy, saying Li Yue sent them. But Chu Qing doesn't spare them and decides he's going to destroy the Li family. He keeps walking and then feels a strong heartbeat. He started feeling his body getting hotter, and his vision got blurry. He went over to Chen Huahua's house and began wondering why he had come there. Suddenly he felt a strong attraction, so he kissed Chen Huahua. He was surprised by his feelings and said sorry. But Chen Huahua told him to keep going, and they ended up being together that night. The next day, Tang Xian looked for him in class. She asked him to have lunch, but then she noticed a woman's scent on him. She didn't pay attention to it and told him to come along anyway. Others started wondering why a popular student like her would ask Tang Xian to have lunch together. While they were on their way, Tang Xian asked if they could hold hands, and he agreed. This made her blush. Tang Xian grew up being groomed as an heiress and always had to be careful about who she hung out with. But after meeting Chu Qing at the court, she had this strange feeling that he meant something important to her. She was already falling for him, feeling safe and relaxed whenever they were together. It was all so new to her, and she didn't understand why. At the cafeteria, Chu Qing ordered exactly what she loved to eat, which made Tang Xian wonder how he knew. While they were talking, he noticed two unfamiliar women entering. He got up from the table to get the food. Out of the blue, these two women took out daggers and tried to attack Tang Xian. Without wasting time, Chu Qing threw a plate of hot food at one of them, stopping their attack. He got stabbed by the other person, but he used his power to push her away. Then he fought with them and won. Tang Xian was surprised and asked if he came from a martial arts family, but he said no. He told her they should leave the cafeteria because it wasn't safe anymore. As they left, he started feeling weak from the stab wound. Tang Xian offered to take him to the hospital, but he said the wound wasn't serious and would heal on its own. Chu Qing was surprised that he could get hurt by the two average assassins, so he decided to make spirit artifacts for defense. Tang Xian said her family was known for making medicines, but their recipe was stolen a month ago. Other medicinal families joined forces to pressure them, possibly because of the Li family. He said he could help with her family's problem and suggested making a new formula for medicines. She explained that making formulas was tough. He told her that after the auction in 2 days, her family would notice him, and they could talk more then. Suddenly, he felt his heart thumping and realized the spirit energy he had put on Chenxi was gone. He left Tang Xian behind and quickly called Chen Huahua to figure out where Chenxi was. After that, he called up Jia Yu to get a ride. Jia Yu showed up without delay, and they began tailing the person Chen Huahua had pointed out. Jia Yu drove aggressively, and before long, they spotted a van carrying Chenxi. Jia Yu forced the van to stop by ramming his car into it. Chu Qing got out of his car, took on all the people inside the van, and beat them in no time. As he tried to open the van's trunk, there was a sudden explosion that pushed him away. He was pretty surprised by the power and started wondering if there were spiritual cultivators in this world. Two men representing the Quanzhen sect arrived and praised his skills. They invited him to join their sect, but Chu Qing declined, criticizing their abilities. This provoked their anger, and one of them attacked with a salamander rod. Chu Qing countered with his sword, breaking the rod. Despite a fiery punch from his assailant, Chu Qing severed his hand. Seeing this, the other man grew furious, but before he could react, Chu Qing killed him. The last man attempted to use his powers, but Chu Qing swiftly stabbed him. Chu Qing went over to the van to wake up Chenxi. After spotting him, she informed him that they needed to leave immediately to avoid the arrival of two senior Taoists. Chenxi reassured her, saying that everything was all right. He then asked if she had any idea who might have kidnapped her. She suspected the Li family's involvement and mentioned that other smaller families had also been causing issues for her family. Chu Qing reasoned that this could be due to an upcoming auction where rare treasures were expected to show up. These families might have wanted to prevent their competitors from learning about it. Chenxi invited Chu Qing to her house so her mother could thank him for rescuing her. He agreed, and when they reached Chenxi's place, they stumbled upon a secret meeting involving the Ye family. Chenxi's mom offered Chu Qing a seat, but one of the family members objected. He told them he wasn't there for the secret meeting. Instead, he showed them a spiritual stone and said he wanted to talk about business. He gave them the stone and asked them to check it. They didn't know its value, so they thought it was just a regular stone. But Chu Qing told Chenxi's mom to use her inner strength to feel its energy. When she did, she felt more energetic. She was surprised and asked how much he'd sell it for. He said it wouldn't be sold until an upcoming auction. He then offered them 2 talismans he had made, one for protection and another to boost their combat strength temporarily. They were shocked and asked why he was helping them. He said it was because Chen Shi was his friend. However, Chu Qing's real plan was to use the Ye family's help to establish his business in the city. Afterward, when he got home, he met his second aunt, Chu Qing. She wanted to talk about his arranged marriage. He told her he was still in college and wanted to delay marriage until after graduation. However, his aunt disagreed and began criticizing his family members. This made him angry, leading him to hit the table in frustration. His aunt got up to leave but reminded him about getting married soon before exiting. Feeling annoyed, he insulted her and went to his room. In his room, he called Chen Shi for a favor. After a while, Chu Qing, his aunt, enjoyed her time with some men at the bar. During this time, Chen Shi instructed someone to break her leg and remove a kidney. Meanwhile, that night, Chu Qing spent the whole night creating protective items for his friends and family. These items were meant to let him know right away if they were in danger. The next morning, he gave the protective pendants he had made to his father and sister. At school, he fell asleep in class since he had stayed up all night working on the items. The teacher noticed he was asleep and told him to come solve a problem on the board. Even though he hadn't paid much attention in class, he remembered Song Chaoran, a classmate from his past life, teaching him. Using that memory, he managed to solve the problem correctly. This surprised everyone, including the teacher. Despite having slept through the lecture, Chu Qing's solution impressed the teacher so much that they made him the class representative. After class, Chu Qing rested his head on the desk to avoid others noticing as he created a new talisman. Suddenly, his best friend tapped him, and he paused swiftly. He handed the talisman to his friend for protection. His friend told him about the upcoming school sports events in 2 days and asked if he wanted to join. Chu Qing wasn't initially interested, but his friend managed to convince him eventually. After a bit, a girl named Ling Wanner came looking for Chu Qing. She was the school's popular figure, known for singing and playing the piano. She invited him to a party thrown by a middle school friend, mentioning that others from middle school would also love to see him there. After she left, Chu Qing went to meet Tang Ziyan in her classroom. He found her struggling with her homework, specifically a question he had previously solved in class. He kindly offered to help her and explained how to tackle the problem. Once he had assisted her, he suggested they step outside. Out there, he gave her one of the protective items he had made. Back inside the classroom, Chu Qing set himself a goal to create 30 more of these items before the school bell rang. He had promised to bring them to the Ye family. After some time, the school bell rang, signaling the end of the day. Chu Qing packed all the items he had crafted into his bag. As he was thinking about visiting Chen Shi later, a friend suddenly tapped him on the shoulder. The friend asked if he wanted to hang out with them that night. He said no, and went to Chen Xi's house. Chen Xi was really happy to see him again because she had been missing him. He also gave her the protective artifact. While she was wondering what it was used for, he threw a glass cup at her. But suddenly the talisman did something and made a barrier that stopped the cup from hitting her. She got really excited and kissed him. She wanted to sleep with him as a present, but he told her he had other things to do and would come back later. Then he left and went to Chen Huahua's house. Huahua was asleep, so he woke her up. When she saw him, she got excited and hugged him. After she had slept, Chu Qing found out that Huahua had gathered information about the ancient martial arts families in the city for him. While he was heading back, his dad called to know where he was, so his mom could pick him up. After a bit, his mom came, picked him up, and asked why he smelled like a woman's perfume. He didn't tell her the truth, and she advised him not to be alone with women. Shortly after, he got a notification that the Ye family had paid him 1.2 million yuan for the talismans he had given them. This got him thinking that if making artifacts could earn him that much, crafting elixirs could make him rich. When he got home, he visited Jia Yu, gave him a protective artifact, and Jia Yu thanked him, mentioning it was the first time someone had treated him like a real friend. They both talked about their difficult pasts and drank until they got drunk. When Chu Qing got back home, he found his sister trying to sneak into the house because it was late. She saw him and got annoyed about his late return and the alcohol smell. Then she passed out, also drunk. So, Chu Qing helped her to her room. But when he tried to leave, his sister held him and pulled him onto the bed. She started mentioning some guy's name and tried to kiss him. In his drunken state, Chu Qing started to respond, but then he realized it was his sister and stopped himself. He quickly left the room and decided not to drink anymore. The next day he went shopping for clothes for a reunion party. He also thought about getting a car so he wouldn't have to keep asking Jia for rides. That's when he bumped into an old classmate, Jo Bu-kun. Jo Bu-kun let him know about the reunion party he was setting up, but Chu Qing told him Ling Wanner had already invited him 2 days earlier. Jo Bu-kun was surprised that Ling Wanner asked him personally. He got a bit mad and left. Back when they were in middle school, Jo Bu-kun used to bully Chu Qing and spread lies about him. Later, Chu Qing went to a car store to buy one. Some ladies saw him and thought a rich woman was looking after him. At night, he came to the party driving his new car. He saw Tang Ziyan and asked about Ling Wanner who had invited him. She said, "It's not her concern." She also spilled the beans that Jo Bu-kun had a bet with everyone that Chu Qing would show up in a school uniform. If he was wrong, he'd pay for everyone's meals for a week. Turns out, Jo Bu-kun lost the bet and was pretty mad. Jo Bu-kun told everyone about their Olympics preparation and his plan to create a male basketball team. He jokingly invited Chu Qing to join, trying to tease him. However, Chu Qing wasn't interested and declined. During the event, Chu Qing shared some dessert with Tang Ziyan, which made Jo Bu-kun feel envious. Tang Ziyan, with affection, asked Chu Qing if he would consider joining the basketball team. He said he would do it if she gave him a kiss. Tang Ziyan suggested a French kiss instead, and this made people admire them and call them a couple. Later, Chu Qing invited everyone to have dessert at a nearby restaurant, and he paid for everyone. This shifted the attention from Jo Bu-kun, who had organized the event, to Chu Qing, who became the center of attention. After a little while, Ling Wanner showed up, and Jo Bu-kun was really happy to see her. He went over to welcome her, but she left him and went to meet Chu Qing instead. Jo Bu-kun was asked to play the piano, and he invited Ling Wanner to dance while he played. Ling Wanner told everyone that the dance was for her best friend, Chu Qing. This made Tang Ziyan feel jealous because she thought Ling Wanner was dancing for Chu Qing. At the same time, Jo Bu-kun got upset when he saw Chu Qing talking to Tang Ziyan, while Ling Wanner was dancing for him. He got angry and confronted Chu Qing, but Chu Qing made fun of his music, which made Jo Bu-kun even more furious. He got ready to fight and demanded an apology from Chu Qing. But instead, Chu Qing warned him that if he lost, he'd better say goodbye to his hands. This frightened him a lot. He began singing a strange song, the kind gods sing, something he'd learned when he was becoming a god in his previous life. A mist appeared behind him, scaring Jo Bu-kun, but Ling Wanner stepped in to stop Chu Qing. Tang Ziyan also told him to stop so he wouldn't get into trouble later on. The song's anger had such a strong effect on Chu Qing that he almost forgot he wasn't in heaven anymore. He took a kitchen knife and cut off Jo Bu-kun's hair. He told Jo Bu-kun that he wasn't the same person he had bullied before, and he warned him to never show up in front of him again. Jo Bu-kun felt ashamed and left, and the party continued. After the party, Chu Qing realized he smelled like beer and thought it wouldn't be a good idea to go home to his parents that way. So, he called his sister and told her he couldn't come home. Instead, he decided to go to Hua Hua's house. When he got there, he saw that her front door was open. He walked in and saw a man struggling with Hua Hua. He tried to help her, but then he recognized that the man was her dad. Hua Hua's dad said she owed him money, but she said he had used the money for gambling instead. He insisted it was his right to get the money back from her. Getting frustrated, Hua Hua threw her debit card at her dad, but he said he would get the money from her boyfriend. Hua Hua defended Chu Qing by saying he was just a student with no money. Her dad then grabbed her and even suggested she should sell herself to rich boyfriends to get the money. Chu Qing told him that he'd pay the requested amount, but on the condition that he sign a paper. This paper meant he'd have to end their father-daughter relationship, and promise to never bother her again. At first he said no, but Chu Qing said she'd cancel the offer if he didn't agree. Faced with this, he eventually said yes. Once he signed, Chu Qing used magic to turn a mug into a weapon. She warned him about what could happen if he bothered Hua Hua again, and actually hurt him with the mug. After that, he kissed Hua Hua and they spent the night together. The next morning, Hua Hua woke up Chu Qing to share some good news with him. She had made a nice breakfast for him. He was curious why she was treating him so special. She told him she didn't want to lose him. He reassured her and said she should just be herself. A bit later, he got a message from Jia, saying he had sent the money he asked for. It was the same amount he planned to give to Hua Hua's father. Then, a message came from Tang Ziyan, asking him to come to the basketball club after school. At the basketball club, Tang Ziyan asked him about the new potion formula he had mentioned. He gave her a paper with the formula he thought could help mages upgrade their magic. She joked about running away with it and asked if he trusted her. He said he cared more about helping her family than the money. She confessed she had fallen for him, and they kissed. Later that night, while he was studying at home, his mother came to talk. She asked if he liked any girl. His mom told him it was okay if he married the girl he loved, but her family disagreed. She couldn't help him much. She said he had to join the national university if he wanted to marry his choice and avoid the arranged marriage. After a while, Chu Qing started practicing and summoned his sword. He saw the sword was different with rust on it. If the rust didn't go away, bad things would happen. He thought he might have taken the wrong path during practice. He urgently needed to find a sheath for the sword to save himself. Then, he got a call from Ziyu. Mad that Chu Qing missed an auction. Chu Qing had forgotten about it due to a nap. He rushed to the auction to find something for his sword. At the auction, he had challenged her, which had made her angry. When she tried to hit him, he grabbed her hand and caused her pain. Ziyu had seen everything and stood up for Chu Qing. He also kicked out the ladies who had mocked him from the auction house. Ziyu had also told him about stopping someone from the Chu family in the imperial capital. This person had come to buy information about his second aunt, Chu Qing, who had lost a leg and a kidney. Chu Qing had acted like he didn't know anything about what happened to his aunt. Chenxi and her mom had shown up at the auction house later. Chenxi was really happy to see Chu Qing again. They all went to a room, and Chu Qing checked the list of items for auction. And guess what? The spiritual stone he had mentioned to Ziyu was actually up for auction. He got Chenxi a drink, and while doing that, she pulled him closer. She seduced him, and they soon began making out. Just then, Ziyu walked in on them. He said sorry for interrupting and left in a hurry. Chenxi tried to continue, but Chu Qing suggested they stop for now due to his unease with Ziyu around. However, Ziyu hadn't actually left. He was just behind the door. Chu Qing called him back in, and he brought information about the auction items. Unfortunately, Chu Qing couldn't find the special spiritual golden material needed to free his sword among the items. Ziyu took the information and showed it to Chenxi, implying that Chu Qing's expectations were too high. Chenxi noticed a particular item, and as she looked at it closely, Chu Qing zoomed in and realized that it was made of the same material he was looking for. All of a sudden, he hears Tang Xian's voice coming from the auction room. She's bidding a huge amount for something. He's curious about why she's bidding so much and decides to figure out what's being auctioned. Turns out it's the Tang family formula. He wonders who would auction it. So he goes to find out more while Chu Qing heads back to meet Chenxi. He asks Chenxi why she's only interested in having fun with guys and not in her family's matters. He wants to know how she plans to solve family problems if she doesn't care about them. After a bit, Ziyu comes back with information about how much they made from selling spiritual stones. Chu Qing then asks Ziyu about the buyer of something called Jiang, an item that's made of the same material he's looking for. Ziyu says he can't say who the buyer is due to the rules. But Chu Qing clarifies that he's only interested in the container itself, not what was inside it. This surprises Ziyu, making him wonder if this container is also something valuable that he underestimated. Chu Qing left Ziyu and headed home. On the way, he noticed a road sign indicating ongoing construction ahead. Surprisingly, there were no cars around, which puzzled him since he hadn't seen any construction during his trip to the auction earlier. Out of nowhere, lightning struck, accompanied by a strong aura that shook him. Reacting quickly, he steered his car into a nearby bush for safety. Getting out of his car, he tried to figure out what was going on. In the scene unfolding before him, he saw a woman in a purple robe, an officer from the Jianwu department, approaching another woman and her group. Remembering Chenxi's explanation about the Jianwu department, Chu Qing recalled it was formed because the regular police couldn't handle the ancient martial artist groups. The officer was there to take an auction item from the woman, claiming it as her country's property. The woman asked for a judgment order, which was necessary for the Jianwu department's action. As the officer seemingly reached for the order, she suddenly attacked with a punch. In an instant, she took down all of them and went to grab the auction item. Chu Qing realized it was Chongjiang, the same item he wanted. Just then, the lady noticed someone spying on her and asked them to show themselves. He came out, and she attacked right away. He blocked her attack and summoned his sword, and even though she kicked him in the face, it didn't faze him. He countered with a powerful punch, sending her flying. She pulled out a gun, with its aura menacing, and shot at him. She thought he was done for, so she took the item and started to leave. But out of nowhere, Chu Qing stabbed her from behind, and she died. The bullet's aura had hurt him badly, so he started cultivating immediately to heal his wounds. He cried out in pain as he did so. Chu Qing realized that whenever he tried to close his wounds, they would reopen and get worse. He couldn't figure out why until he inspected the gun that had shot him. Despite looking like a normal gun, he soon found out that the dangerous energy was stored in the bullet itself. Acting on this discovery, he went straight to Huahua's house. When Huahua saw him, she was surprised and helped him onto the bed. Chu Qing asked her to cut out the bad part of his wound, but she was too scared to do it. Instead, she called Chenxi for help. When Chenxi arrived, she did what needed to be done and tied up his wounds. The next morning, Chu Qing felt much better. Then, Chenxi confronted him about meeting up with Huahua behind her back. Chu Qing defended himself, saying that if women could have multiple men, he should be able to have multiple women too. She asked him what had happened, and he explained that he had killed a messenger from Jianwu who had tried to assassinate him. This revelation shocked Chenxi and Huahua. Chenxi examined the bullet and identified it as Wang Chuan's. She wondered how he had survived and asked about the messenger's rank. He admitted not knowing the rank, but remembered the messenger wearing a purple robe. Chenxi informed him that a purple robe indicated the lowest rank in the Jianwu department, and questioned why Wang Chuan's bullet was associated with it. Later, Chu Qing's phone rang and he considered leaving for school to avoid talking with his dad. Chenxi and Huahua encouraged him to rest and recover from his wounds instead. He reassured them that his wounds had already healed completely. Chenxi was surprised by how fast he had recovered from Wang Chuan's injuries. She asked him how he had stopped the spread of Wang Chuan's aura in his body. He explained it was a simple technique and offered to teach her if she was interested. She was excited, but he had to leave for school and departed. As he left, Huahua tried to talk to Chenxi, but she didn't respond and left as well. Back in school, Chu Qing used to doze off during class while the teacher was teaching. Song Chaoren would try to wake him up, which annoyed the teacher. She'd slam her hand on the table and scold Song Chaoren for disturbing the class. She even threatened to call Chu Qing's parents. Song Chaoren would plead with the teacher, and Chu Qing joined in. They promised not to cause a disturbance while sleeping in the future, making the whole class laugh. The teacher warned that if Song Chaoren didn't make it to the top 10 in the exam, she'd involve his parents. Chu Qing surprised everyone by offering to take the exam for Song Chaoren. The teacher warned that if he failed, she'd expose their actions during assembly, embarrassing them. Chu Qing realized Song Chaoren had a crush on him. A student told Tang Xian that Chu Qing was cheating on Song Chaoren. Tang Xian and her friends confronted Song Chaoren but found Chu Qing with his head on the table. Misinterpreting the situation, she assumed he was in tears. She went to meet him but found out he was just sleeping. Song Chaoren said sorry to Chu Qing for causing him trouble, but he told her not to blame herself since he was the one who dozed off in class. He gave her a hug and reassured her that they would always be friends. Tang Xian and Chu Qing then went to the cafeteria for lunch. Tang Xian's friend Tao Yunyao scolded Chu Qing and told him to apologize to Tang Xian for hugging another girl in front of her. Chu Qing argued that she should apologize too, as many guys were pursuing her. Chu Qing told Tao Yunyao that he didn't need Tang Xian's protection and should instead be protecting her. Tao Yunyao burst into laughter, and Tang Xian joked that he'd need to become stronger than her to do that. Tao Yunyao cautioned him to stay away from other women, but he pulled her closer and flirted. After a while, Tang Xian informed Chu Qing that the formula he had given her had been tested and wasn't for improving martial arts skills. It was actually a poison recipe. Chu Qing was shocked. However, Tang Xian told him that the poison still held value and offered 200 million for it. This surprised Chu Qing, making him think he could be rich by selling his formulas. He mentioned wanting to buy herbs from her family to make more elixirs for Chenxi's mom. Tang Xian was taken aback that he wanted to make elixirs since no man in the country was skilled at it. She said she looked forward to it because it was him. Then, she playfully licked some food remnants off Chu Qing, leaving him wondering. She explained most men would be embarrassed, advising him to stop martial arts training. She promised to protect him if he needed defense. Concerned for his health, she gave him healing medicine and joked about not wanting an impotent husband. Chu Qing got home, and his dad scolded him for not coming home the previous night. Chenxi appeared, making excuses for him. Chu Qing was surprised and asked why she came. She gave him Tang family healing medicine, not knowing he already had one from Tang Xian. He went ahead and collected it anyways, and started teaching her how to handle Wang Chuan. They entered Chu Qing's room and started the cultivation process. After a while, Chenxi started coughing and feeling pain. Without delay, he gave her the healing medicine, only to find out that his Reiki was causing damage along her body's pathways. He then realized that when he had healed Aunt Ye, his Reiki had passed through her body instead of her meridian. He acted quickly, directing his Reiki through her body, which relieved her pain. This helped him understand why Tang Xian had called the formula a poison. He deduced that the main difference between men and women in this world was the irregularity of their meridians. This led him to conclude that he needed an ancient martial arts book. Suddenly, Chenxi tried to seduce him by leaning in, but their moment was interrupted by Chu Qing's father entering the room. Surprised to find them on the bed when they had claimed to be studying, Chenxi said his goodbyes and left in a hurry. Chu Qing then reassured her father that there was nothing romantic between them. Left alone, Chenxi thought about using the Chongjiang technique to craft his sword's sheath. Meanwhile, 2 women from the Jianwu department visited the spot where their colleague had been killed to investigate the murderer. One of them, dressed in a green robe, mentioned that her family had arranged for her to marry someone from the Chu family. She was on her way to Jinmen to meet this prospective partner. Chu Qing practiced cultivation diligently. He crafted a sheath for his sword and made a mask to hide his face during missions. He was puzzled by the fights over Chongjiang. Chenxi messaged him, inviting him over for dinner with her mom. At the Ye mansion, Aunt Ye asked about his elixir progress. He said it would be ready next week. She offered to pay, but he asked to see the Ye family's cultivation techniques instead. Aunt Ye refused, saying only family members by marriage could access the book. Chu Qing disagreed, saying he would choose who joins his family. Aunt Ye warned him about the risks of ancient martial arts and suggested he quit. Curious why men couldn't learn martial arts, he planned to ask Jia Yu. At Jia Yu's place, he learned that men had to be castrated to cultivate. Chu Qing was surprised by the news. When Jia Yu offered to help him find a hospital for his castration, he said no. He then asked where he could buy old self-defense techniques, but Jia Yu told him it was impossible. Families who knew these techniques guarded them and didn't share. Chu Qing realized that learning ancient martial arts in this world wouldn't be easy. Later, he got a message from Hua Hua saying some packages had arrived from the Tang family. He went to her house and worked alone to make pills. He successfully made the Quan Yi Dan, a pill that could make a person stronger by 30% for a little while. Hua Hua watched out of curiosity as he worked, finding it hard to believe he could make pills since only special alchemist families could do that. Eventually, they started making out, despite Hua Hua being on her period. The day after, while at school, Chu Qing felt tired because he hadn't slept well the night before. Yamao, who is Chenxi's brother, met him and said that his sister wanted to meet him. Chu Qing followed Yamao, and when they found Chenxi, she offered him a drink. Chu Qing drank it right away, but soon started feeling dizzy, realizing Chenxi had drugged him again. She took him to a hotel room and tried to get intimate with him. After they slept together, she gave him the book he had asked for. The ancient martial arts manual of the Yi family. She then told him that he'd have to be her future husband if he wanted to open the book. He agreed happily. With excitement, he pulled her close and kissed her, passing something into her mouth. Chenxi was curious about it, and he assured her she'd understand soon. While Chu Qing read through the book, Chenxi began her training. He found out that in this world, women could absorb spiritual power through meridians, while men couldn't without risking harm. He figured out a way to adapt the martial arts techniques so that men could practice them safely. Chenxi told him she had made progress, and he revealed he had given her Qingyi, the special wine from Chongjiang, to help her. She tested her strength against his and realized he was still stronger. They soon began making out again. The next day, when Chu Qing arrives at school, Tao Yunyao approaches him and informs him that Tang Xian wants to talk with him. He meets with Tang Xian, who immediately confronts him, asking where he was the previous night and what he was up to. He explains that he spent the night with Chenxi at a hotel. Tang Xian becomes extremely angry and accuses him of being shameless. In response, Chu Qing questions whether he's the only person she plans to be with as her future husband. Tang Xian explains that her family doesn't permit such a relationship, and Chu Qing asserts his right to see other girls as well. He makes it clear that if she can't accept him this way, they might need to go their separate ways. Tang Xian admits that what he did angered her and mentions her desire to harm Chenxi. However, out of concern for Chu Qing's feelings, she suggests an arm wrestling competition instead. If he loses, she will consider harming Chenxi. Chu Qing agrees, but soon discovers that Tang Xian is surprisingly strong. When he discovered that Tang Xian would outmatch him, he took a pill to boost his abilities and managed to defeat her. Tang Xian was surprised and couldn't figure out how he could beat her. Chu Qing reminded her of a promise she had made, and she reluctantly agreed to let this slide, with a warning that she wouldn't forgive him if he cheated on her again. Chu Qing returned home and was surprised to find a stranger in his house. The lady introduced herself as Gong Yue, claiming to be his fiancé. He insisted he didn't have a fiancé, but she showed him a marriage contract signed by his aunt and grandmother. Furious, he tore up the document and felt an urge to confront her. Chu Qing told his parents he was going out for dinner, and Gong Yue decided to join him so they could get to know each other better. On their way out, Chu Qing attempted to attack her, but she skillfully evaded his strikes. When he tried another attack, she resisted him once again. Chu Qing felt the pain from their clashes and realized that Gong Yue was even stronger than Tang Ziyan. Fearing he might get hurt if the fight continued, he decided to summon his sword. She used to calm him down and tell him he was eligible to be her husband, considering his strength. However, he would tell her he didn't want to be her husband and wouldn't marry anyone. She would warn him about the potential consequences, but he remained adamant, mentioning his ambition to enter the National University. She would mock him, saying it had been a long time since any man had succeeded in getting into the National University. 2 days later, while other students were busy with sports, Chu Qing would diligently study to secure admission to the National University and prove a point to Gong Yue. Xiao Wu approached him and mentioned a game he had later in the day. Chu Qing declined, stating he had no time for such distractions. In frustration, Xiao Wu grabbed the book Chu Qing was reading and threw it away. This infuriated Chu Qing, leading him to react by hitting Xiao Wu with a book. He then instructed Xiao Wu to retrieve his book. Xiao Wu attempted to strike Chu Qing, but Chu Qing managed to evade his attack. Xiao Wu made another attempt to assault him, but Ye Mao intervened, preventing the attack. In response, Xiao Wu bit Ye Mao's hand. This prompted Chu Qing to seize Xiao Wu and put pressure on him, demanding an apology. Xiao Wu insincerely apologized, and upon spotting Tao Yunyao, he feigned being the victim of the situation. Chu Qing informed Tao Yunyao that Xiao Wu had unexpectedly attacked Ye Mao and even bitten him. He explained that he was trying to stop Xiao Wu from continuing his aggressive behavior. Tao Yunyao then left and reported the incident to Tang Ziyan. Tao Yunyao began advising Tang Ziyan to end her relationship with Chu Qing, as she believed he wasn't the right match for her. However, this suggestion made Tang Ziyan very angry. She started defending Chu Qing, and in response, Tao Yunyao warned her that she was losing herself. Meanwhile, Zhuo Bukun followed Xiao Wu to confront Chu Qing at the infirmary while he was taking care of Ye Mao. Zhuo Bukun told Chu Qing to apologize, but Chu Qing, instead of apologizing, dropped a bunch of keys and challenged Zhuo Bukun to pick them up if he wanted an apology. Zhuo Bukun, however, didn't pay much attention to this and informed Chu Qing that Xian had invited him to a basketball match. Chu Qing initially disagreed, but eventually agreed to attend the game. At the basketball court, Chu Qing noticed a large crowd of people, speculating that the girls enjoyed watching the boys play basketball. Chang Saif showed Chu Qing 2 seats that were reserved for him and Ye Mao, as they waited to join the game. Chu Qing realized that one of the seats had glue on it, a prank intended to get back at him. In a clever move, he pretended to sit in the sticky seat but chose the other one, much to Zhang Sifi's disappointment. Tang Ziyan approached Chu Qing and handed him a note with a message, asking how it felt to sit on the sidelines. He took the note and replied, suggesting she shouldn't have taken the seat beside him. Unfortunately, it was too late. She had already sat down. When she tried to stand up, the glue on the seat tore her trousers, revealing her underwear. She shouted at Chu Qing for not telling her in time. She took off her top, tied it around her waist, and tried to attract him. Chu Qing quickly took off his top and covered her, saying he didn't want others to see her body. She took it off anyway and went back to sit next to Li Huanger, who was the president of Jingmen Second High School. The game began, and Chu Qing praised his team but noticed something strange about the other team. Li Huanger asked Tang Ziyan if Chu Qing was her boyfriend and proposed a deal. If her team won, Tang Ziyan would have to let him be with her for a month. If not, she would have to run without her clothes. Tang Ziyan initially refused but eventually agreed to prove her team's superiority. Li Huanger told her team to reveal their true skills, and the game instantly changed. They had intentionally been playing poorly before. Chu Qing had doubts about the other team as he considered them. Tang Ziyan urged him to join the game, but he declined, saying he only intended to be a substitute. Tang Ziyan emphasized the urgency of the situation, and he agreed to play only if Zhuo Bukun cheered for him. With her support, he joined the game and made the team perform better. He bravely charged towards the opposing team, approached the basket, and scored a point for their side. As the game continued, he surprised everyone by intentionally passing the ball to one of his opponents instead of his own teammates. This unexpected move left everyone in shock, wondering what he was up to. The opponent dribbled down the court towards the basket, and that's when Chu Qing did something surprising. He lowered the opponent's shorts, revealing that she was, in fact, a woman and not a man. The other team got disqualified, and Chu Qing's team emerged as the winner. After 3 days, Chu Qing was in a class learning about male anatomy, trying to figure out how to help men practice ancient martial arts. Ye Mao informed him that Tang Ziyan wanted to meet him at the Tingyu Martial Arts Stadium the following day. Chu Qing was curious about why she wanted to meet at the training grounds. The next day at the stadium, Chu Qing met Tang Ziyan, and she unexpectedly challenged him to a fight. He questioned the reason behind their fight, but she insisted on revealing it only if he lost. Surprisingly, he won the fight. Tang Xian was amazed that he could defeat her and asked if he was still practicing martial arts against her advice. Chu Qing reassured her not to worry and promised she wouldn't become a widow. Eventually, they started a romantic relationship. Tang Yu arrived at the stadium with Zhuo Bukun and his friends. Xian introduced Chu Qing as her boyfriend and introduced Ting Yu as her nanny. Chu Qing was surprised and wondered how Ting Yu could have taken care of Xian when she was young, given that he was a man. Ting Yu showed Chu Qing the guys he had brought with him. Xian then punished the guys for not supporting Chu Qing and for putting glue on his seat. While this was happening, Ting Yu asked Chu Qing to come with him to help carry some medicines. Chu Qing agreed to go along, mainly out of respect for Xian. When they reached their destination, Ting Yu started asking Chu Qing questions about his family and their occupation in a somewhat spiteful manner. Chu Qing responded rudely, which made Ting Yu angry. In his anger, Ting Yu raised his hand and slapped Chu Qing. Chu Qing became angry and kicked him, sending him flying. Tang Xian was shocked and rushed to Chu Qing to ask what had happened. He explained that Ting Yu had told him he didn't deserve her and should stay away. Ting Yu also said Chu Qing would never become the ruler of the Tang family. Chu Qing responded by saying he wouldn't marry anyone, even if Xian begged him. He warned Ting Yu that anyone who slapped him would face dire consequences, but he spared him this time because of Tang Xian. Ting Yu continued to speak arrogantly, and Chu Qing attempted to attack him with his sword, but Ting Yu managed to dodge it, leaving him terrified. Meanwhile, at the Jianwu department, they held a meeting to discuss their colleague's death. One member informed Gong Yue that they hadn't found any suspicious characters, but they had discovered something interesting. She then revealed a valuable item, explaining that it was the latest item from the Shizhen auction. Gong Yue grew suspicious and asked her to find someone who had recently been close to Zhai Yu. Gong Yue visited Chu Qing's house but didn't find him. Instead, she noticed something on his table. Tang Xian had been angry with Chu Qing. He chased after her, apologizing for what he had done to her nanny. She told him he was strong, thinking he might even be better than herself. Later, she confided that his earlier words about not wanting to marry her, even if she knelt and begged, had hurt her deeply. Chu Qing reassured her that they would always be together, and then he gently kissed her. After the kiss, he spotted a woman perched on the roof of a nearby building, patiently waiting for him. He analyzed her and soon realized that she was even stronger than he was. He told Xian that she was an old friend and suggested she head home while he talked to her. At first, Xian said no, but eventually she agreed and began running home. Then, the lady launched an attack. He turned and started running too. The lady chased him, but suddenly changed direction and went after Xian instead. He saw this and quickly turned to save Xian. Right as the lady was about to catch Xian, Chu Qing suddenly appeared before her. She lifted him by the neck and asked him about the martial arts move he had just used. He offered to do anything if she let him go, but she carried him to a different place instead. Gong Yue showed up in a green robe with the Wangchuan bullets as they talked. Gong Yue told the lady to leave him to her, but the lady didn't think she was capable enough. Gong Yue grew angry, and they both confronted each other. Chu Qing thought that escaping was impossible, so he used the chance to stab the lady with a sword, ending her life. Chu Qing was shocked when he realized the lady in the green robe was Gong Yue herself. Gong Yue learned that she had been in the company of the lady in the purple robe's murderer. She questioned why he had murdered her. Chu Qing explained that she possessed a valuable item and had harmed many people. In response, Gong Yue threatened to shoot him, but he warned her that she would lose her fiance if she pulled the trigger. She then suggested finding a room to have a private conversation. Inside the room, she showed him a drawing of a male body she had found in his room and asked him where he obtained it. He confessed that he had drawn it himself, surprising her. She inquired if he could create a training program. She retracted her earlier statement about him not being able to enter the National University and proposed a deal. She would help him with Shuzheng's business, while he would assist in her recovery. Puzzled by her behavior, he observed her and pointed out that her training methods contradicted her physical condition, causing her to gain weight. Gong Yue was thrilled that he could help her get back in shape and began sharing information about both the Chu and Gong families. Chu Qing had a moment of realization that Mr. Chu's family needed to strengthen their position. Consequently, they suggested that he should marry into the Gong family. Chu Qing expressed their desire for the Wangchuan bullets, but this request was denied, as it wasn't part of their agreement. In response, Chu Qing revealed the Kuang Yi pill, a special pill that boosted a person's strength by 30% when consumed. The lady was quite pleased with its effects and inquired about obtaining more in exchange for the Wangchuan bullet. Eventually, Chu Qing offered comfort by gently patting her head, making her feel better. She asked him for help in creating training methods that would suit her physique. He explained that it wasn't an easy task, as her spiritual foundation and other crucial elements had been absent for a long time. She was astonished by his knowledge. Chu Qing disclosed that her own family had taken those elements from her. This revelation made her furious, causing her to point a gun at him. But Chu Qing insisted that she needed to continue her training to seek revenge. Her anger escalated, leading her to fire at him. But he managed to evade the shot. Unfortunately, she ended up with a bleeding head wound. The realization of her family's betrayal left her feeling defeated. Chu Qing assured her he would do his utmost to assist her when he reached the imperial capital. He advised her to take a break from practicing to prevent any harm to herself. Meanwhile, Xian, accompanied by her second aunt, embarked on a quest to find Chu Qing. She received a call from him, reassuring her that he was safe. Upon returning home, Chu Qing informed his parents that Gong Yue wouldn't be joining them for dinner. She was on a flight back to the capital and had decided to call off the marriage. As Gong Yue was on the plane, someone handed her a document listing people who had recently interacted with Jai Yu. As she perused the list, she was surprised to find Chu Qing's name among them. This left her with a sense that their fates were intertwined. Chu Qing went to his sister's room to check if her bed had been damaged since Gong Yue had been using it for a few days. He noticed a deep hole in the bed and decided to call his sister to discuss it. When he called, Xiao Tao, his sister's boyfriend, answered the phone. Instead of revealing his identity, Chu Qing decided to play a prank on Xiao Tao by pretending to be his sister's boyfriend. This made Xiao Tao quite upset, and he had a hard time believing it was Chu Qing on the line. However, Chu Qing eventually disclosed his real identity as his sister's younger brother, which eased the situation. At school, Chu Qing had a conversation with Zhou Bukun and his friends, who already looked up to him as a leader. He told them about his desire for them to practice ancient martial arts, which made them anxious due to the reputation of these arts being dangerous for men. Chu Qing assured them that his training methods were different from the usual ones and had been designed to be safe for men. He even mentioned needing someone to test the strength of an iron object, but assured them that it was completely safe. As Chu Qing was speaking with Chenxi, someone from the Tang family approached him and informed him that their boss was looking for him. He made his way to the car and found Xian's mother and Ting Yu waiting inside. He realized that Xian's mom was also unfriendly towards him, so he decided to leave since they had nothing more to discuss. Just as he was about to go, Xian arrived and asked why he was there. In a sudden move to tease her mother, he kissed Xian. She got into the car and drove off with her mom. Meanwhile, Chenxi saw him kissing Xian. She pulled him into her car, and they were intimate there. After Chu Qing said his goodbyes and left, he got a strange call from his sister, asking him to take care of their parents. A woman took the phone and urgently told him to come to her within 30 minutes, or else his sister would be in danger. Chu Qing called Jai Yu to inquire about the group that had taken his sister. Jai Yu warned him that the group was exceptionally powerful and that he might not be able to rescue his sister if he had provoked them. Despite the warning, Chu Qing decided to proceed because he couldn't leave his sister in their clutches. Upon arriving at the location, he witnessed a woman mistreating his sister, which fueled his determination. He rushed towards the woman just as their boss appeared. Chai Xiao, his sister, urged him to escape, but he decided to put her to sleep temporarily so he could confront the boss. Chu Qing demanded an explanation for what they had done to his sister and swore vengeance against anyone involved. The confrontation quickly escalated into combat, and Chu Qing realized that his opponent possessed remarkable speed and strength. To level the playing field, he consumed one of his strength-enhancing pills and promptly summoned his sword. However, the boss had been exerting control over him, so he decided to approach the situation differently, fearing for his life. He questioned her about the truth, and she revealed that his sister had a forbidden affair with the mayor's son, leading the mayor to order her execution. He pleaded for his sister's release, and she pointed to a scar on her face, an outcome of his sister's actions. She demanded money, but he offered a sacred gem instead. She insisted that he spend the night with her, and they soon retired to a room. After an intimate encounter, she surprised him with a syringe and requested another round. Chu Qing declined and left. He carried his sister back home. Upon arriving, he encountered their father, who scolded him for returning home late. Chu Qing explained to his dad that his sister had been kidnapped, and he had been called to the police station to pick her up. This news frightened his father, who was concerned about recent troubles involving their family, as well as issues related to his mother's company. Chu Qing was surprised to learn about the problem with his mom's company, but his father didn't provide details when he asked. Chu Qing called Chenxi and found out that the issue was somehow connected to Tang Xian's mother. The following day, he visited his mother's company for the first time. A woman guided him to the general manager's office. During their journey, the lady tried to flirt with him. Suddenly, they came across President Chu, who was Chu Qing's mom. She was taken aback to see him there and asked what he was doing at the company. The lady apologized for bringing a stranger into the company and falsely claimed that Chu Qing was her nephew. However, Chu Qing told his mom that he wanted to talk with her privately. Chu Qing's mom immediately fired the lady and brought Chu Qing to her office. There she told him that his father had informed her about the incident involving Chu Xiao the previous night. She asked him to explain what had really happened. He described the whole situation to her, and she was surprised that he had gone to such a place to rescue his sister. Chu Qing assured his mother that both he and his sister were okay. To prove his ability to protect the family, he even demonstrated his martial arts skills to her. His mother was astonished and asked if Chenxi had been teaching him martial arts, as she had noticed a significant change in him since he met her. Suddenly, Chenxi arrived, saying she had heard about a problem at the company and had come to see if she could help. Chu Qing's mother informed her that someone had introduced a virus into the company's computer system, causing a system-wide paralysis. The technical department was already working on fixing the issue. Chu Qing suggested that Hua Hua could help with the problem. When Hua Hua arrived, she seemed afraid to face Chenxi, who was still upset with her. Chu Qing asked Chenxi if she could help him obtain a gun, as he intended to use it to deal with Wang Chuan's threats and help his sister with her issues involving the mayor. He said his goodbyes to Chenxi and mentioned he wanted to check on Hua Hua. This made Chenxi angry, and she took him aside to discuss things privately. She warned him not to interfere when she was dealing with any woman who got close to him. Chu Qing had left and made his way to Vermilion Bird Road in search of his sister's boyfriend's house. He wanted to find out whether this guy was on his sister's side or if he was like his father, the mayor. This way, he could figure out how to handle the situation. Upon arriving at the house, he was surprised to find Tang Ziyan there. He met her, and she inquired why he hadn't been attending school. She believed it had something to do with what her mother had done to him and his mom's company. Chu Qing assured her that his absence had nothing to do with her, he simply needed a break. He then asked about Meng Zui, and Tang Ziyan informed him that Meng Zui was the second among the 10 masters in Jinmen and was involved in some major illegal dealings in the city. She shared important details about the other masters with Chu Qing, who started thinking about seeking information from Hua Hua. Chu Qing decided to visit Hua Hua's place, and there, Hua Hua attempted to seduce him. He told her he had come for something else. He asked for her help in gathering all the important information about the Ming family to keep his sister safe. Suddenly, Chenxi arrived. Chu Qing, thinking there was an intruder, quickly grabbed his sword and prepared to attack, but he stopped when he saw it was her. He asked her how she managed to get in when he had locked the door, and she told him she had the key. Chu Qing took the key from her and threw it in the trash, telling her not to bully Hua Hua anymore. She got angry and left. After a while, she returned with a gun. Chu Qing tried to calm her, but she fired at them. Chu Qing shielded Hua Hua and rushed towards Chenxi to stop her. She then gave him the gun, as he had asked earlier. He saw that the gun was suitable for the 3rd-level Wang Chuan bullet he had received from Gong Yue, so he accepted it. Chenxi said she would be staying for the night and got very affectionate, which made Hua Hua feel jealous. Chai Qing suggested that she watch a movie while he and Hua Hua tackled his homework. They were busy collecting information about the Xing family's house. Chenxi, having some suspicions about their relationship, kept interrupting them. This made Chu Qing quite upset, so he eventually carried her to her car and gently pushed her inside. As he attempted to leave, she pulled him back in, and they began to engage in a romantic moment. After they completed their deed, Chu Qing attempted to distance himself from Chenxi, who was quite insistent on being in a relationship with him. However, she recognized that Chu Qing was different from other men, and believed he would soon pursue her. Chu Qing simply smiled and walked away. Chenxi asked him to act like a 17-year-old, but Chu Qing reminded her that she hadn't treated him as underage in the car. When the topic of marriage came up, Chu Qing pondered what kind of dowry Chenxi wanted. She excitedly declared that she wanted all of Jinmen. Chu Qing assured her not to worry and left. He returned to Chihuahua to continue their activities. Soon after, Chu Qing went to the Xing family's house and sneaked in. He almost got caught by a granny named Xing Wei, who was the top expert in Jingmen. He peeked through the window and saw Xiao Tao looking at a picture of his sister. Chu Qing figured out that Xiao Tao still had feelings for his sister, so he decided to go in and talk to him. Inside, Xiao Tao blamed himself for getting Chu Xiao involved in his troubles. He explained that his mom was trying to force him into marrying Tang Ziyan. This shocked Chu Qing, and he asked Xiao Tao to help him arrange a meeting with his mom so he could talk to her. He suggested that Xiao Tao distract Xing Wei for 30 minutes while he went to see his mom. Chu Qing went into a ladies' room and waited for her while she bathed. When she finished and returned to the room, she found him on the bed wearing a mask. She smiled and moved towards him, thinking he was the new guy sent by the Li family. Chu Qing felt like he was being treated like a plaything. It seemed like everyone wanted to be intimate with him. He butted her head, and she lost consciousness. Afterward, he went to Xiao Tao's mom Xing Li's office. While this was happening, Xiao Tao pretended to be considering taking his own life, so Xing Wei left to handle the situation. This allowed Chu Qing to enter the office. He revealed himself as Chu Xiao's brother and requested Xing Li to permit Xiao Tao and his sister to get married. However, she insisted that Xiao Tao couldn't marry someone from a less respectable family background. During their conversation, she noticed he had a particular type of bullet called a third-level Wang Chuan bullet and found it amusing. Chu Qing was taken aback and tried to grab the gun to shoot her, but she was quicker. She kicked him and took the gun from him. He praised her skills and mentioned that if only his family had even half the status of the Tang family, she might allow Xiao Tao to marry his sister. Xing Li noticed that the bullet in the gun was from the Gong family and inquired if he was related to them. Chu Qing responded by revealing his engagement with the Gong family. To prove it, he showed her a marriage contract between her and Gong Yue. After inspecting it, she realized he was the grandson of Mrs. Chu. She used to tell him that his mother was an outcast in the Chu family and lived in Jingmen just to survive. Chu Qing suggested they forget about the Chu family and talk about something else. He gave back the contract to her, and he ripped it into pieces. She explained that she was kind to him because he was Chuanlan's grandson, and Chuanlan was someone she respected. Then, Xing Wei returned and told her that her daughter was missing. She got very angry, grabbed Chu Qing by the neck and lifted him, demanding to know where her daughter was. He tried to negotiate, asking her to forgive his sister, but she refused and said she would murder him instead. She ordered Xing Wei to search for her daughter, since she believed she was still somewhere around the house. He checked his phone and was surprised that Hua Hua hadn't given him any feedback on what he had asked her to do. Xing Li suspected he was trying to call someone to come to his rescue. About an hour later, she didn't see any support, so she questioned him about the delay. He explained he had come prepared with a backup plan. She playfully teased him for thinking he still had a chance to succeed. She proudly mentioned her expertise as a 4th-grade master in the realm of heroes. He responded that her skills didn't make her invulnerable. This revelation surprised her, and she attempted to make a phone call. Just then, Xing Wei returned with news that they had located her daughter. Meanwhile, Hua Hua had already sent a picture of a man to Chu Qing. Xing Li tried to attack him, but he showed her the man's picture, leaving her shocked. Xing Wei also attempted to attack him, but he threatened to harm the man if they tried to harm him. Xing Li decided to negotiate and asked for his terms. He proposed that his sister marry Xiao Tao. She agreed, but with the condition that his sister must buy a house on Xiangke Street within a year. If she failed, she would marry into the Xing family. Chu Qing asked her to put this agreement in writing and instructed her to tell Meng Zui to back off. He started to leave, but she asked him to wait. She told him to keep everything about the man a secret. She gave him back his gun and handed him 3 third-grade Wang Chuan bullets as gifts. On his way back, he spotted Xing Li's daughter. She started yelling at him for hurting her and tried to slap him. But he blocked her hand and told her not to bother him. She then confessed that she was the one who had caused pain to his sister. Upon hearing this, he slapped her hard and said it was for his sister. Xing Wei attempted to fight him, but Xing Li intervened and let him go. As he left, he commented to Xing Li that her children lacked discipline. Xing Li then instructed Xing Wei to send Liu to a Wangchuan training camp and find a good teacher for Tao. Xing Wei protested, expressing concern that Liu might face harsh training at the camp and could even die. Xing Li responded by implying that Liu's life was of little value, and suggested that nothing should prevent Xiao Tao from inheriting the family. She now believed that men were just as capable as women, influenced by how Chu Qing behaved. This revelation left Xing Wei shocked, and made her wonder if Chu Qing had influenced Xing Li's views. Chou Hai returned to Hua Hua, and her emotions welled up when she saw him. She had been afraid that he wouldn't survive. He told her he'd been roughed up by 2 old ladies and needed some rest. The next morning, he got a call from Tang Ziyan while lying in bed. She asked why he hadn't gone to school yet, and he said he was sick and couldn't make it to school. Ziyan warned him that the teacher might call his parents if he skipped, which surprised him. She reminded him about his bet with the homeroom teacher to make it to the top 10 in her test. In a hurry, he jumped out of bed and dashed to school just as the teacher was about to begin the test. He apologized for being late and took his seat for the exam. After the test, Song Chaoren asked him if he was confident about making it into the top 10. Chu Qing reassured her, saying he had answered all the questions. Tang Ziyan and Tao Yunyao approached them, and Yunyao started teasing Song Chaoren for flirting with Ziyan's guy. Ziyan stopped her and asked if he'd join them for lunch. Chu Qing agreed and invited Song Chaoren, but she declined and left, seemingly scared. Chu Qing then noticed Ye Mao, who seemed too shy to confess his feelings to Yunyao. Ye Mao tried to sneak away, but Chu Qing caught him and brought him along. Xian once asked Chu Qing if he was Chen Qi's brother. Chu Qing felt a bit awkward and decided to join Yamao for lunch to avoid the question. During the meal, Xian inquired if Chu Qing truly believed he could make it to the top 10. Chu Qing responded, saying he wasn't sure. Xian then asked if he had been spending time with Chenxi lately, but Chu Qing claimed to be too busy and quickly changed the subject, suggesting that Yamao should express his feelings to Yunyao. Mao felt embarrassed, and Chu Qing asked Yunyao for her opinion about him. She challenged Chu Qing to confess his own feelings first if he wanted to know how she felt about Ye Mao. In a hurry, Chu Qing admitted he liked Xian. Xian questioned him about what Chenxi meant to him if he claimed to like her. Chu Qing replied that there was no rule against liking more than one person, which angered Xian and led to a kick. As Yunyao began to say she didn't like Yamao, he hastily confessed that he loved her and shared childhood memories of her excelling in food contests, which had attracted him to her. Yunyao suddenly realized who he was and became embarrassed. She playfully tapped Yamao's head with food and left. Xian left as well, leaving Yamao and Chu Qing at the table. Yamao then told Chu Qing how awkward he felt and requested a warning next time, so he could prepare mentally. Chu Qing came home one day, and he was quite surprised to find Hua Hua having a chat with his mom. His mom told him that she had invited Hua Hua over for dinner to thank her for helping with a company issue. She then mentioned that she wanted to talk to him in private, and he followed her into a room. In that room, his mom began asking him about his relationship with Hua Hua. Chu Qing replied that they were just friends. His mom, however, expressed her suspicion that there might be something more between them. She brought up the fact that he used to like Chenxi, and now he's with another girl. His mother emphasized the importance of him having some self-respect, especially as a young man. Chu Qing countered by telling her that he planned to marry both into the family. His mom couldn't believe what she was hearing and called him crazy. Chu Qing stood his ground, reminding her that he was a grown man and that she should be advising his older sister who had a boyfriend. She informed him that his sister had been on the phone all day and asked him to call her for dinner. Chu Qing headed to his sister's room and had a video call with Xing Tao. After a while, she ended the call and informed him that Xing Tao had mentioned that his mom had agreed to their relationship. She thanked him for his help, but he asked her if she could meet Xing Li's condition of acquiring a house on Zhukwei Street within a year. If she couldn't, she'd have to marry into their family. This news shocked Chu Xiao, but Chu Qing reassured her that he had a plan to make it happen. He advised her to focus on helping their mom at the company to lighten her workload. Returning to Hua Hua, Chu Qing inquired if she'd like to work at his mom's company. She replied with an enthusiastic yes, and Chu Qing sealed the moment with a kiss. Meanwhile, his mom observed them from her room. Hua Hua felt embarrassed when she realized she had seen them, so she hurried back home. Chu Qing went back inside and talked to his mom about wanting Hua Hua to work at their company. His mom replied that there were no job openings, but Chu Qing suggested they expand the company and create a new department for her to manage. His mom asked why he wanted the company to grow so much, and he explained it was for the Chu family. He also mentioned he wouldn't marry into the Gong family and wasn't afraid of Chu Anlan. His mom silenced him and told him to go back to his room immediately. Later, she went to his room to apologize for being too harsh. She admitted that she had been patient with them, giving them an advantage over her. But that was going to change. Chu Qing thought he only had to deal with Meng Zui, so he headed to her place. He handed her the letter that Xing Li had given him, instructing her to leave his sister alone. Meng Zui asked him how he managed to do that, but he didn't respond and attempted to leave. Suddenly, she approached him from behind and grabbed him seductively. Chu Qing kissed her, but she forcefully pushed him away. She then used her power to hold him and grabbed him by the neck, demanding to know why he kissed her. Chu Qing had just managed to break free from her grip. He warned her that she'd regret her actions. She insisted on an apology and payment for what he'd done. Reluctantly, Chu Qing said, "Sorry," but she was persistent about the money. Surprisingly, she brought up the money he was supposed to pay when he'd saved his sister the other day. Chu Qing claimed he had no money, so she suggested he give her his sword instead. He said he didn't have it with him, but she didn't buy it. She reminded him that he had made the sword appear seemingly out of thin air last time. Curious about the technique, she proposed to forget about the money and the sword if he taught her how to hide it. Chu Qing thought she was too greedy and summoned his gun, taking a shot at her. To his surprise, she resisted the Wangchuan bullets and revealed her own special gun. To appease her, Chu Qing offered 100 spirit stones just like he'd given her last time. However, she declined, saying it wasn't enough. So he tossed an item to her, which boosted her power once she absorbed it. She wanted more, and Chu Qing promised to give her something about the size of his fist. Finally, she allowed him to leave, and as he departed, she smirked, playfully claiming she would make him her loyal companion who'd never escape her grasp. On the other side of things, Chu Qing had his own plans. He aimed to conquer and bring her into his family through marriage. The following day, Chu Qing visited his mother's workplace to check on how Hua was doing in her new job. Hua had won the admiration and respect of her colleagues for her outstanding work. Playfully, Chu Qing teased her by calling her director. However, Hua revealed that she had initially asked Chu Qing's mom for a technical consultant position, but instead, she was made the director. Afterward, Chu Qing headed to school, where he noticed a lot of hushed conversations among the students. Ye Mao approached him and delivered the news that the test scores had been published, and there was a rumor that Chu Qing hadn't made it to the top 10. He asked if Chu Qing was ready to deliver an apology speech at the assembly the next morning. Chu Qing, however, refused to accept that he didn't make it to the top 10. Inside the classroom, his homeroom teacher, Tong Fei, asked him to bring his parents to school the next day. Chu Qing protested, confident that he had secured a spot in the top 10. The teacher disclosed that Chu Qing had ranked first in the class but 11th in the entire grade, and she even accused him of cheating to achieve that. Chu Qing demanded evidence to support the cheating accusation, and teacher Tong suggested they review the security camera footage in the security room. Xian and Yunyao joined them as they examined the test footage from the classroom. To their surprise, they found no evidence of cheating, leaving teacher Tong in shock. Chu Qing drew everyone's attention to a student who had cheated, leading to that student being summoned to the security room. The principal instructed the director to handle the situation, and they left together. The director apologized to Chu Qing for the inconvenience caused, and they all exited the security room. On their way back, Xian congratulated Chu Qing for achieving a spot in the top 10, making him the first male to do so. He was surprised, and Xian explained that one of the girls in the top 10 had been disqualified for cheating, which elevated him to the 10th position. Everyone started to admire Chu Qing for being the first male in the top 10 and for his connection with Xian. Many days after the cheating incident, teacher Tong introduced a new student, Li Yuwei, to the class. Chu Qing was shocked because he remembered that Li Yuwei used to be Xian's fiance. After class, Chu Qing talked with Xian about Li Yuwei joining their school, and she asked him if he felt jealous. He denied it, and Xian gave him a quick kiss. Meanwhile, Li Yuwei secretly watched them, becoming both jealous and angry. Chuabukyun and the others ran into Chu Qing and told him that Li Yuwei had been spreading rumors to tarnish his reputation. They offered to take him to confront Li Yuwei, or even give him a beating, but Chu Qing declined, not wanting to cause trouble. He believed that the real issue was Xian's mother and pondered how to win her over. Yukun informed Chu Qing that they had been diligently practicing the cultivation technique he taught them, and they hadn't experienced any negative side effects. They discussed their progress and received encouragement from Chu Qing. He also gave them spirit stones to aid in their cultivation. Afterward, Chu Qing hid in some nearby bushes and contemplated whether he could ever leave this world, considering the people he cared about. Yunyao, Ye Mao, and Chu Qing had lunch together, with Xian joining them, and Li Yuwei reluctantly tagging along. Xian sat next to Chu Qing, making Li Yuwei envious and seeking her attention. Eventually, Xian left for the restroom, and Li Yuwei warned Chu Qing to stay away from Xian, reminding him of the last time he tried to harm him with his bodyguards. Xian encountered him when he was upset and making threats to Chu Qing. She promptly asked him to leave. Chu Qing, feeling proud, mentioned how he had assisted Xian and asked how she planned to thank him. Xian responded that it was his duty as her boyfriend to keep other men away. Li Yuwei showed Chu Qing's photo to a hitman, requesting Chu Qing's assassination. Later, as Chu Qing was walking to his car, he received a message from Meng Zui with a picture of his sister. This startled him, and he wondered if Meng Zui had gone back on their agreement and captured his sister. However, after calling her, he found out she was safe. Right after ending the call and getting into his car, Chu Qing sensed something was wrong. He swiftly exited the vehicle, and it exploded moments later. He left the scene in a taxi and phoned Zhuo Bukun, asking him to review the parking lot security footage to identify the person responsible for the attack. Chu Qing visited Meng Zui's place. He was curious if Meng Zui's people had tried to blow up his car. Upon entering, he noticed that Meng Zui had become stronger recently. He inquired about her reasons for seeking him, but she didn't offer a clear explanation. Wanting to leave, he made a move, but she swiftly approached and halted him. Unexpectedly, she tore his clothes off, and he accused her of seeking him out solely for her own desire. She admitted her attraction, and Chu Qing drew her nearer, initiating their romantic connection. She asked him to be her companion and safeguard his sword and its secret. Chu Qing questioned if she would forgive him for any mistakes, to which she promised not to hold grudges. Then she urged him to reveal his sword's secret immediately. However, he mentioned she couldn't be upset after he showed her something, piquing her curiosity about what he had in store. He broke the glass walls of her apartment and flew out, escaping her grasp. Meng Zui became angry and told him she would murder him when they met next. She mentioned that his sister still worked as a bartender in the complex, suggesting she could get her revenge through her. Chu Qing called Zhuo Bukun to inquire about the person who damaged his car. Zhuo Bukun informed him that it was someone hired by Li Yu Wei. He also shared that Li Yu Wei was scheduled to pick someone up from the airport by midnight. Chu Qing got angry and set out to find Li Yu Wei. However, on his way, Tang Xian intercepted him. She tried to persuade him not to confront Li Yu Wei due to the potential consequences it could have on both the Li and Ye families. Despite her concerns, he remained resolute and told her not to worry about his problems. As he departed, he encountered Chen Shi. She explained her mom had pressured her to come and halt him, but now she wanted to stand by his side. Aunt Ye arrived shortly after, advising Chu Qing against his plans. She was grateful for his previous help, yet she thought it wasn't the right time. However, he insisted he could handle the Li and Tang families to earn respect for the Yi family in the future. Xian's mom appeared and bluntly urged Chu Qing to stop talking. Ignoring her, he proceeded to leave. This infuriated her and she attempted to attack him. But Aunt Ye intervened, insisting that she had to go through her first. At the airport, Chu Qing spotted an elderly woman who was an expert guarding Li Yu Wei. Li Yu Wei was surprised that Chu Qing was still alive and inquired about his presence. Chu Qing told him he had come to eliminate him, but the elderly woman interrupted, instructing them to take the fight outside. Once outside, the elderly woman revealed her rank as 4th in the Li family and launched an attack. Chu Qing dodged the attack, then counterattacked with more strikes. He defended against all her moves with his sword skills. Afterward, he launched a flurry of sword attacks at her. She got distracted and tried to block them, but Chu Qing suddenly appeared in front of her and stabbed her, ending her life. Li Yu Wei's other bodyguard tried to shoot him, but he was faster. He swiftly summoned his gun and shot both of them with the Wang Chuan bullet, taking their lives. He also took the flower Li Yu Wei was carrying and wondered if he had caught a big fish, as Li Yu Wei had come to the airport with a master's protection to greet someone. Meanwhile, there was a clash between the Tang and Ye families. Li Yan, the head of the Li family, arrived with their elder. Li Yan ordered Aunt Ye to leave and go save her son, but she refused. Their argument escalated and Aunt Ye attempted to attack, but Meng Zui stepped in between them. She had been surprised to find 3 influential families gathered in one place. She sarcastically asked if they were choosing the ruler of Jinmen City. The elder from the Li family tried to attack her, but Meng Zui swiftly injured her with a single blow. This left them all shocked. She made it clear that she had no business with them and stated her mission was to eliminate someone. Xian's mother inquired about the target, and she revealed the person was at the airport. Lei Yan offered to accompany Meng Zui to the airport, providing her with some high-level healing medicines. Meanwhile, at the airport, Chu Qing warmly welcomed the guest Li Yu Wei had been waiting for. She asked why Li Yu Wei wasn't there to pick her up, and he callously informed her that he had already murdered him. He then rendered her unconscious and transported her out of the airport. Once outside, he spotted a car and placed her inside. As he drove away, he noticed Li Yan and Meng Zui driving towards him. In response, he raised his gun and opened fire at them. They escaped from their cars, but Li Yan got hurt while Meng Zui was unhurt. Meng Zui allowed Chu Qing to get away. As Chu Qing kept on driving, he phoned Chen Shi to pick up his family and let them stay at the Ye family's big house for a few days. Chen Shi checked with her mom, who agreed, hoping that Chu Qing would keep his promise to make Jinmen respect the Ye family in the future. Li Yan found out that Meng Zui also wanted to murder Chu Qing and suggested they team up to go after him together. She was surprised to learn that Meng Zui had let Chu Qing escape, and Meng Zui explained that Chu Qing could only meet his end at her hands, and no one else's. Li Yan said she would let him go but eliminate anyone close to him. She brought out the Cheyenne reagent and applied it to her wound. She realized that the medicine was subpar even though it was made using the Tang family's recipe, compared to what the Tang family produced themselves. She then decided she needed to bring an important person from the imperial capital to take down the Tang family. Li Yan questioned her subordinate about an important person from the imperial capital. The response she received was that Chu Qing had left with that individual. This news greatly angered her. Meanwhile, Chu Qing realized he could be easily traced using the car and the lady's phone. In response, he decided to stop and destroy both their cell phones. He then took the lady to the Yunjiang River in the Yunshan mountain area and tossed her into the river to revive her. Chu Qing justified this action by thinking that in this world, women should not be treated with gentleness. He believed that having a soft heart in this situation could lead to his demise. The lady eventually regained consciousness and was frightened, initially believing she had passed on to the afterlife. Later, she realized she was still alive and scolded Chu Qing. In his quest for information, Chu Qing subjected her to torment as he demanded to know her name. She reluctantly revealed that her name was Qiao Wei. He had questioned her further, and when she refused to speak, he resorted to torture. She explained that she used to be a student specializing in medicine and that Li Yan had hired her to develop drugs. However, he found it hard to believe that a prestigious family like the Lees would hire a college student. He then took her to a more secluded part of the river on a dock and threatened to throw her in for the fish to devour if she didn't talk. He inquired about why the Lee family had shown interest in her, and she revealed that she was a student at the National University. She had been released against her will by the university when a powerful family demanded her presence. He suggested they go together to get her some fresh clothes, but she claimed her leg was numb and she couldn't stand. To escape, she pulled him, causing them both to tumble into the river. Fearful, she offered to work for him, secretly planning to concoct poison to murder him. Chu Qing took her out of the water, and soon she fell asleep next to him, feeling his comforting warmth. At the same time, Meng Zui ordered her followers to go and snatch Chu Xiao. As Chu Xiao walked home after her job, some women approached her, attempting to harm her. Another group of women from the Tang family rushed in to rescue her. As they escorted her away, a different group of women arrived and fought the ones from the Tang family. Chu Xiao recognized one of them, Sister Nan, who informed her that the boss had asked her to work overtime. Li Yan was at Chu Qing's house. She and her subordinate searched everywhere but couldn't find any of his family members. She suspected Ye Qingmei, Chen Qi's mom, had acted before her arrival, so she headed to Qingmei's place. When she met Ye Qingmei, Li Yan demanded that she harm Chu Qing's family, or else she would retaliate against Qingmei's family. However, Qingmei responded by mentioning that Chu Qing had once saved her life. Chu Qing woke up Chao Wei the following day and brought her to his house. When they arrived, he found his place all messed up and vowed to make those responsible pay for it 100 times over. Then, they went to the Ye family's house. Upon reaching there, Chen Qi, excited to see that Chu Qing was okay, rushed to hug him. Chu Qing introduced Chao Wei to Chen Qi and told her to take good care of Chao Wei, ensuring no one could harm her or let her escape. He also inquired about his parents. Chen Qi assured him they were fine, but mentioned that his sister had been taken by Meng Zui's associates. This surprised him, and he scolded his sister for not staying with their mom's company and instead going to Meng's bar. He instructed Chen Qi to keep his whereabouts a secret from everyone and make it seem like he had gone missing. When asked about his sister, he reassured Chen Qi that Meng Zui wouldn't harm her. He was just using her as bait. Chu Qing asked about Chen Qi's family, and she explained that they lost 30% of their forces in a battle against the Li family, but the berserk pills helped prevent further losses. She also mentioned her third aunt, Ye Mei, had caused some trouble over it. Chu Qing knew Ye Mei was doing this because she wanted to become the head of the Ye family. To maintain secrecy, Chu Qing changed his appearance, wearing a mask and pretending to be Mr. Jian, his own master. He asked Chen Qi to take him to her mom under this disguise. Chen Qi took him to her mom, and as they were going, a little boy named Xiaolair approached them in a childlike manner, asking for Chu Qing's masks. Chen Qi promised to get him one. After the boy left, Chu Qing explained to her that Xiaolair was sent to find out who he was. Chen Qi was surprised and mentioned that Xiaolair's mother is close to Ye Mei. When they met Qingmi, Chen Qi introduced him as Mr. Jian, Chu Qing's teacher, which surprised Qingmi. She invited him to sit down and asked why he had come to visit. Qingmi explained that the Li family had been mistreating his student, and he had come to support him. Chen Qi then inquired why he was seeking the Ye family, and he showed her a pill, claiming it would benefit their family. He mentioned that the Tang family was influential because they could make medicine, and that the Li family, having obtained the Tang family's recipe, intended to put them out of business and ruin them. He didn't want the Li family to take control, so he offered to establish a company to produce medicines while the Ye family paid for the raw materials. Suddenly, Ye Mei arrived. Qingmei had introduced Mr. Zhang as the foreign aide she had invited. Chu Qing informed her that he had become uncomfortable and wanted to leave. She instructed Chen Qi to see him off, and Ye Mei also told her daughter, Meyer, to accompany him as he departed. During the journey, Meyer began asking numerous questions, which started to irritate Chen Qi. Eventually, Chen Qi became angry and asked her to be quiet. Then, Xiaolair showed up with a bunch of candies. Chu Qing playfully teased him, asking for some candies, but Xiaolair refused to share them with him. This upset Meyer, who pushed the little boy away. Chu Qing continued to tease Xiaolair, inquiring about where he got the candies, and expressing interest in buying some. Xiaolair revealed that Meyer had given them to him. Quickly changing the subject, Chu Qing got angry and slapped Meyer, telling her to mind her own business. Chengxi and Chu Qing left together in a car, and as they drove, Chengxi received a message from her mom informing her that she had accepted the offer but with a condition. Chengxi's older sister had to run the company. Chu Qing was surprised. He didn't know Chen Shi had a sister because he had never seen her during his previous visits. Chen Shi informed him that her sister had been away for 2 years, traveling the world. She had left home shortly after her husband, who had recently married her, died in a car accident. Chen Shi warned Chu Qing not to try to flirt with her sister, and he promised not to. They soon reached a checkpoint, and Chen Shi was surprised to see military intelligence personnel wearing traffic police uniforms. Chu Qing quickly used an invisibility technique to become unseen before it was their turn. After passing the checkpoint, Chen Shi was amazed and wondered where Chu Qing had learned such tricks. Later, Chu Qing realized they were being followed and told Chen Shi to drive slowly.
Chen Shi turned the corner, only to find another car blocking their path. Women wearing purple robes emerged from the car and began shooting at them. Chu Qing shielded Chen Shi inside the car, knowing he could heal quickly from the level 1 Wang Chuan bullet, but realizing Chen Shi might not survive if hit. After some time, the women ceased fire, presuming their Wang Chuan bullets had done the job. They prepared to depart, but Chu Qing stepped out of the car, admonishing them for leaving without ensuring their target's demise. Surprised to see him, they questioned how he managed to get into the car. Chu Qing realized that the military intelligence personnel had allied with the women to eliminate Chen Shi, as they were the only ones who believed she was alone in the car. The women tried to shoot him, but he evaded the bullets and then charged at them, seizing and smashing their heads together. Chen Shi interrogated them about their motives, pointing out that the Jianwu department messengers wouldn't intervene in the Jimin City family feud. The women pleaded with Chen Shi, explaining they only followed orders. Chu Qing asked who had given them those orders. One of the women threatened Chu Qing, and in response, he snapped her neck. Moving to the second woman, she refused to divulge any information, knowing he would likely still murder her. Using a mystical power, Chu Qing absorbed all her thoughts, ultimately murdering her. They disposed of the bodies by packing them into the car and blowing it up. Chu Qing informed Chen Shi that Huang Caishan, the head of the military surveillance department, had issued the orders. Chen Shi speculated whether Huang Caishan had colluded with the Li family. Describing Huang Caishan as a man who had mutilated himself to practice ancient martial arts and gain strength, Chen Shi expressed fear that he might come after her. However, Chu Qing assured her he had a plan to deal with it. He suggested replacing the leadership of the military surveillance department, as Huang Caishan seemed focused on targeting Chen Shi rather than the entire department. Chen Shi found this idea outrageous. Meanwhile, Chu Qing sustained serious injuries. He instructed Chen Shi to take him to Cao Wei for treatment. Upon arriving at the Yi family's residence, Cao Wei noticed he was injured and expressed regret, saying he should have died instead. Chen Shi became angry and attempted to hit her, but Chu Qing intervened, stopping her. He assured them they would cooperate in the future. Chu Qing instructed Chen Shi to inform her mother about the situation, while Cao Wei attended to his wound. Initially reluctant, Cao Wei eventually agreed to treat him. To her surprise, the Wang Chuan poison hadn't spread. Chu Qing asked if she wanted to learn, and she agreed. He then instructed her to treat him first, promising to teach her later. After Cao Wei finished treating Chu Qing, Chen Shi returned with a report from her mother. She informed Chu Qing that Meng Zui had ceased searching for him and hadn't caused any trouble recently. Furthermore, the Li family offered not to harm the Yi family if they surrendered him. Chen Shi also mentioned that her mother had completed building the company and provided all the necessary equipment. Lastly, she asked if he could handle the military surveillance department, to which he advised her to hide temporarily as surveillance would soon be searching for her. The following day, they went to the new company to explore it. Chu Qing penned down a recipe for a drug, and when Cao Wei examined it, she discovered it was poison. Chu Qing was amazed by her ability to recognize the poison with just one look. He then envisioned the wealth he would acquire once Cao Wei transformed all his recipes into various valuable medicines. Cao Wei prepared the medicine and Chu Qing added his blood to it. He instructed her to drink it, warning her that it would stop her from escaping and that there would be repercussions if she tried. Chu Qing warned her that if he died, the poison would activate inside her. He gave her 2 more recipes and urged her to prepare them quickly. Promising to provide the antidote after a year of collaboration, he believed it was enough time to address Jimin City's issues. He planned to use the other recipes to neutralize the Tang family's medicine. When Chu Qing informed him that Mayor Xing Lei demanded Mr. Jian's presence at the Xing family residence, he went there. Although Chen Shi worried he hadn't disguised himself, he assured her that Xing Lei already knew his true identity. He encountered Xing Tao, his his sister's boyfriend, and left Chengxi with him while he met the mayor. Upon meeting Xing Lei, he inquired about the reason for her summons, and she showed him footage of Li Yan engaged in sexual activity with Huang Keishan. Later, Chu Qing asked her to intervene using her influence to rescue his sister from Meng Zui, but she declined, insisting he handle his own affairs. Xing Lei explained her animosity toward the Li family and her allegiance to the Tang family. They talked about the Tang and Yi families, comparing them. Chu Qing wanted to write something down, so he asked for paper and a pen. After writing, he gave the note to Xing Lei to pass on to Gong Yu. When Chu Qing left, Xing Lei asked about his plans, but he kept them secret. She teased him, saying if Meng Zui harmed his sister, she'd marry her son to Tang Xian. This annoyed Chu Qing. He returned to Chengxi and explained he needed to remove Huang Keishan to protect her. To do this, he needed certain things. He asked Chengxi to come with him to Jia Yu's place. Jia Yu was thrilled to see him, thinking he was dead. Chu Qing requested the finest jade and special materials from Jia, who provided them. Chu Qing paid him handsomely. Before leaving with Chengxi, Chu Qing transformed into Mr. Jian and disguised his face. As they traveled back, Chengxi mentioned to Chu Qing that if they managed to survive the crisis, she would marry him. Chu Qing smiled in response, promising to ensure her happiness as Mrs. Chu for the rest of her days. He reassured her, mentioning that Huang Keishan would meet his end within 3 days. Their path led them to the new company, Yi's Pharmaceutical. Inside, Chu Qing utilized the jade stones he had acquired to craft imitation dragon scales. Chengxi was surprised by this revelation, suggesting they could sell these as products and earn a significant sum. However, Chu Qing dismissed the idea, stating he wasn't interested in such trivial matters. When Chengxi inquired about his intentions, he refused to disclose them, focusing instead on creating more imitation dragon scales. After some time, Chu Qing encountered Qiao Wei. He sought a remedy for the Forgotten River poison, offering her anything except freedom in return. Qiao Wei requested his unwavering support, accompanied by an unsettling grin. After some time, she finished making the antidote. Chu Qing started feeling like he was slowly being poisoned. Qiao Wei smashed the test tube containing the substance she had just made, and poisonous gas filled the air. She had tricked Chu Qing into believing she was making an antidote for him. Chu Qing fell and lost consciousness. She injected herself with the substance and obtained his blood sample to make an antidote to free herself from his grip. After making the antidote, she drank it and became free. She took him to the room and laid him on the bed, and while she tried to punch him, she became attracted to him and kissed him. This became her first kiss. Then she went on to sleep with him in an attempt to deceive him. After some time, Chu Qing woke up to find himself tied up. He broke the rope and discovered that Qiao Wei had slept with him. He stood up and told her it was nice of her. Suddenly, he started coughing blood. He grabbed her neck and demanded to know what she had done to him. Qiao Wei explained that she had done the same thing he had done to her. She said she didn't have a cure because it contained over 20 different substances. Chu Qing insisted she lay out her conditions. She asked him to release her and never bother her again. But he threatened her, demanding the antidote within 3 days and completion of the task he assigned within the next 3 weeks. She asserted her authority but then unexpectedly started coughing. Realizing she was still under some influence, she wondered how that was possible even after taking the antidote. She vowed to bring him down and began hitting herself, causing him pain as well. Chu Qing explained that there was a difference between the original poison he used and the blood she used to create the antidote. Later, he received a call from Chengxi, informing him that she and Huahua were waiting in front of the company. Disguised as Mr. Jian, they went to the Yunjiang River. While preparing for their task there, Chu Qing suddenly coughed up blood. Chengxi was shocked and asked what had happened to him. He said it was nothing and wondered if something had happened to Qiao Wei again. After getting ready, he told Huahua to take some pictures when he gave her the signal. Then he tossed the fake dragon scales he'd made up and did some cultivation, creating the image of a dragon. He asked Huahua to take lots of pictures of it. On their way back, he said he had chosen 2 photos that needed to reach Huang Keishan the next day. He instructed Huahua to draft a press release and release it when he said so. He told Chengxi they would visit her mom later because he needed to talk to her. As they approached a checkpoint, Chu Qing sensed something was wrong and told Chengxi to hide at the back. He rolled down the window, and the officer demanded he remove his mask. Chu Qing informed the officer he was a warrior and not under his authority. Then he instructed the officer to inform the Ministry of Supervision that he knew Chengxi's whereabouts. The officer returned, reporting that a cultivator claimed to know Chengxi's location, prompting the women from the Jianwu department to follow him immediately. The women discovered it was Mr. Jian and attacked him, but he easily defeated them. Suddenly, the Qingfeng army arrived, and Chengxi told him to leave her and escape, but Chu Qing told her not to worry. Hua told Chengxi that since Mr. Jian was Chu Qing's master, he would find a way out. Aunt Yi and Tang Ziyan's mom showed up. Aunt Yi scolded Mr. Jian for resisting the military headquarters and hiding the wanted criminals from them. She wanted to know what Chengxi did wrong and told Huang Keishan to arrest her personally. Huang Keishan said he thought Chengxi and his military guards were dead. Mr. Jian said something that made Huang Keishan angry, and they both tried to attack each other. Tang Ziyan's mom stopped them but got hurt in the process. She asked Mr. Jian where Chu Qing was, but he answered in riddles, got into his car, and drove off. In the car, Chu Qing coughed in pain. The mark left on him when he healed Aunt Yi still bothered him, and it could explode any time during a fight with Huang Keishan. Meanwhile, Chengxi felt sad because she couldn't protect her man. Chu Qing told her he should be the one protecting her. Hua, who was also in the car, overheard them and was surprised. She asked if Chu Qing wasn't his master. Chu Qing couldn't respond. He realized he couldn't keep hiding, so he decided to confess to her. When he revealed himself, she was shocked. Later, when he got back home, disguised as Mr. Jian, he met Aunt Yi and asked for her help in dealing with Huang Keishan. Aunt Yi was shocked and warned him about the danger of going after Huang Keishan, who was a powerful government official. Although Aunt Yi suspected that Mr. Jian might be Chu Qing, she didn't say anything. Mr. Jian explained his plan to Aunt Yi and asked if the Yi family had any media connections. Aunt Yi confirmed they did. After their conversation, Mr. Jian went to check on Cao Wei's well-being. When he arrived at Cao Wei's place, he spotted her. She was upset, muttering curses while holding some medicine. Startled, she turned around when he suddenly spoke. She hadn't realized he was behind her. He inquired about the medicine, and she grumbled about having to work overtime and stay up late to finish it on time. He offered to lessen her workload if she begged him. He also extended the deadline for completing the medicine, which made her happy. Chu Qing teased her, and she started complaining, but Chu Qing kissed her, quieting her down. He cautioned her not to tell anyone and carried her to her room so she could rest. After laying her on the bed, she remembered kissing him while he slept the day before. She began blushing, but Chu Qing, feeling disgusted, left immediately. Then she took out her phone and scrolled through Chu Qing's pictures. She had taken several while they were together that day, trying to capture the moment. The following day in the technology department, one of Huang Keishan's workers showed him some pictures of a dragon in the lake that Chu Qing had sent. He got rid of the worker because he didn't want anyone else finding out about the dragon. Huang thought the dragon was hiding treasures, not knowing that Chu Qing was setting a trap to murder him. Meanwhile, Yi Qingmei and Chu Qing were at the lake. Chu Qing, also known as Mr. Jian, got a call informing him that Huang Keishan would soon arrive. Chu Qing used his magical abilities to create a whirlpool in the lake, and they both went into it to hide from Huang Keishan. After a while, Huang Keishan showed up and stood near the lake, thinking he had discovered a treasure. However, Chu Qing and Yi Qingmei emerged from the lake. When Huang Keishan tried to shoot them, Yi Qingmei disarmed him with a kick, and Chu Qing attacked him with his sword. Huang Keishan fell into the lake and died. Mission accomplished. But suddenly, a real dragon emerged from the lake with Huang Keishan in its mouth. The dragon swallowed Huang Keishan and charged at them, trying to attack. They quickly dodged its attack, but the dragon almost swallowed Yi Qingmei. Chu Qing rescued her and led the dragon away. It chased Chu Qing as he flew off. Yi Qingmei immediately called Chengxi to spread the news about the Yunjiang dragon. She informed Chengxi about the real dragon, shocking him. The news spread, prompting Tang Ziyan's mom to send her people to the Yunjiang River right away. Meng Zui also found the news interesting. Meanwhile, the dragon continued chasing Chu Qing in the river. Wondering why there was a real dragon, Chu Qing thought that the river might be its main habitat. He leaped out of the water and hid in the forest. Suddenly recalling the dragon seal technique, Chu Qing remembered he hadn't mastered it during training. Nonetheless, he attempted it instead of doing nothing. As he practiced the dragon seal technique, the dragon suddenly charged at him. He used the dragon seal to capture the dragon. The dragon broke loose and tried to attack him again. He used the seal once more and tied up the dragon. He started thinking about the treasures that dragons possess. Dragon body parts are valuable treasures, but the most important treasure is the innate dragon key. This innate dragon key is what truly makes a dragon, and if someone obtains it, their cultivation level will skyrocket. He thought about Gong Yu and believed that this innate dragon key could save her. He summoned stones to fall on the dragon. The dragon broke free again, and he used the dragon seal for the third time. He drew his sword and slashed the dragon's throat, causing it to release its innate dragon key. However, Meng Zui suddenly intervened and stole it. Chu Qing was furious and tried to attack her, but she resisted him. He demanded that she return it, and she realized he was Chu Qing. Taking off his mask, Chu Qing negotiated with her, saying that since she had taken the dragon key, she should free his sister. However, she argued that she had obtained the dragon key on her own and didn't need his help. This made Chu Qing even angrier, and he attempted to attack her again. She warned him that she would murder him if he did anything harmful. She then tried to use the power of the dragon key she had just absorbed, but was shocked to find that it all went into her lower abdomen and disappeared. Hurriedly, she left, leaving Chu Qing wondering what had happened. He returned to check on the dragon, which was writhing in pain and now powerless because it had lost its innate dragon key. Chu Qing saw some people arriving and warning others about a dragon in the forest. He wondered how they had found out about the dragon. He decided to go to the Yi family's house to meet Yi Qingmei. When he got there, he found out that she was the one who had spread the news. Chu Qing realized that this was why Meng Zui had suddenly shown up. He then told Yi Qingmei that since news of the dragon murder Huang Keishan had spread and everyone was busy talking about it, they could take a break. The next day, he went home to visit his parents. They were surprised to see him. His mom called him into her room and asked about his sister. She told him to tell her everything, as his sister Chengxi had already filled her in. He was surprised by how his mom managed to get Chengxi to talk openly. She explained that she had called both Chengxi and Huahua. Chu Qing understood that the women didn't want to mislead his mom, so they shared everything with her. He shared everything with his mom and vowed to rescue his sister. His mom cautioned him that he must never keep secrets like this from her again, or else he shouldn't return home. He then thought that since his mom was from the Chu family, she should also be a martial artist. His mom didn't want to talk about it, but he told her that besides being a warrior, he was also a doctor. He scanned through her body and discovered that her meridians were broken. He asked her who did it to her, but she told him not to worry because she had done it herself. He understood that the Chu family had forced her to do it and promised to destroy them. Then he told his mom that he would try to cure her, but she doubted that she could be fixed since there was no cure for that kind of injury. Chu Qing went to Yi Pharmaceuticals to find a way to cure his mother and Gong Yu. Meanwhile, at the Xing family residence, Xing Wei and Xing Lai discussed the fake dragon scale stone they had found in the forest, which Chu Qing had planted to deceive people into thinking the dragon was not real. Xing Lai said she would have thought it was fake if she had not seen the dragon herself. Chu Qing cultivated for some days, stepped into a new soul realm, and eliminated the poison Qiao Wei had put in his body. Chengxi told him he should go with her to pick up her sister, who had just arrived. As they waited for Chengxi's sister, Xiao Wu, Gong Yu's agent, arrived at the airport. Chu Qing had invited her to join Jinmin as the new head of the military supervision department after he had dealt with Huang Keishan. Chengxi's sister arrived, and Xiao Wu left to handle other matters. Chengxi introduced Chu Qing as her boyfriend to her sister. Yi Wanqing, Chengxi's sister, quickly began to scold him, warning him not to cause trouble for the Yi family. They left the airport, and on the way, Chengxi asked Chu Qing if he could help cure her sister. He responded casually, still annoyed by what her sister had said earlier. Later, he inquired about the illness, and Yi Wanqing began to explain. She recounted how she had been unable to identify her illness since she was 5 years old. She would faint regularly, and her health deteriorated until she was confined to bed. They had consulted renowned doctors, but none could provide a cure. One doctor even predicted that Yi Wanqing would not live beyond 30 years. Now 27, she had only 3 years left. However, Chu Qing remained nonchalant in his response. At Yi Pharmaceuticals, Chu Qing felt jealous because Chengxi was busy helping her sister and didn't pay attention to him. Chengxi brought Qiao Wei to check her sister's health. They used fancy machines in the lab to test her, but everything came back normal. Yi Wanqing revealed that a doctor had given her special medicine that keeps her alive. The doctor had given her 24 pills, one for each year, and it's supposed to make her live for 24 years. Qiao Wei wanted to test the pill, but Chengxi got worried and said each pill meant one more year for her sister. Chu Qing also wanted to try the medicine that could extend life. Later, Chu Qing claimed to know how the pill was made. Chengxi asked him to make 100 so her sister could live longer. But Chu Qing said only the original doctor could do it. Chengxi blamed the old doctor for not making enough pills. Zhao Wei asked Chu Qing to share the method to save Yi Wanqing. Chengxi and Wanqing were surprised when they discovered that he knew a way to save her but was keeping it a secret. Zhao Wei explained that if a medicine could be made using Chu Qing's prescriptions, it would be unlike any other in the city, and the prescription they had was just a simplified version. She added that if they had the complete version, Wanqing's illness wouldn't be a problem. Chu Qing admitted he hadn't spoken up because refining the medicine would take over 3 years, and since Wanqing only had about 3 years left to live, he didn't want to give her false hope. Then he left. Zhao Wei suspected he didn't want to save Wanqing, but Chengxi defended him, believing in his sincerity and insisting he wouldn't act that way. Later, Chu Qing attempted to carve out a specific formation but struggled with it. He was informed that the president of Yi Pharmaceuticals wanted to meet with him. Upon arriving at the meeting hall, he found everyone already seated and waiting for him. Despite gossip circulating about his demeanor, he remained unfazed. He realized that Wanqing had intentionally notified him late about the meeting. The meeting commenced, with Wanqing and the president discussing the launch of a new medicine the company had developed. Chu Qing objected to it. Everyone else agreed except for Chu Qing. Chu Qing suggested that everyone else should leave because he had some things to discuss with the president and the chief pharmacist, Zhao Wei. Chengxi wondered what he was up to. Wanqing ended the meeting, and Chu Qing questioned Kiao Wei about the medicine she had made. She hadn't made it according to his prescription. She angrily exclaimed that something was wrong with the prescription, so she had to adjust and improve it. Chu Qing mocked her so-called improved medicine. In anger, Kiao Wei grabbed it from him and kept scolding him, saying he didn't know how to make medicines. He showed her that he knew alchemy and could refine pills, teasing her with it. She stormed out of the hall in irritation. Chu Qing left too. Chengxi said she believed Chu Qing and urged her sister to talk to him. Wanqing went to talk to Chu Qing and said sorry, but he didn't forgive her. She saw him practicing ancient martial arts, which surprised her. Chu Qing told her he thought she was a cultivator, and she said she used to practice when she was a child, but her doctor advised her to stop if she wanted to live longer. He kept acting unfriendly, and Wanqing asked if he was worried about ruining his plans and being left with nothing. However, Chu Qing told her there were other families in Jinmen he could partner with any time, and she shouldn't think too highly of herself. Hearing this made her angry. The two kept on arguing angrily until Wanqing got a call and went outside. He heard a noise from Wanqing's office and went to see what was going on. It was Yi Meyer demanding a share in the company because she's part of the family too. But Wanqing said it wasn't possible because she and her mother didn't help when the company started and even opposed it. Chengxi also heard the noise and tried to help her sister, but Chu Qing stopped her. Chengxi told Chu Qing she was sad he wasn't getting along with her sister. Meanwhile, in the argument, Wanqing slapped Yi Meyer. Yi Meyer got angry and tried to hit her back, but Chengxi stopped her quickly. Yi Meyer then pulled out a dagger and ran toward Wanqing. Chu Qing, who didn't want to get involved at first, saw this and rushed to stop her. He grabbed her by the neck and threatened to throw her off the building. Yi Meyer pleaded with him not to murder her, and he decided to let her go. She left the office with the plan to return later for revenge. Wanqing informed Chu Qing that he had finally done something that pleased her. He jokingly complimented her appearance, which annoyed Chengxi. Chu Qing left the office to attend to other matters. After he departed, Wanqing warned Chengxi about Chu Qing's violent tendencies, to which Chengxi admitted she couldn't handle him. Yi Meyer went back to her mother, asking for help in seeking revenge, and her mother agreed to assist. Chengxi rushed to inform Chu Qing that Mayor Xing Lai had covered up the truth about the real dragon. Meanwhile, Lai Yan was in her office, visibly upset, and received unexpected visitors. At Yi Pharmaceuticals, Chu Qing prescribed some medicine, and Wanqing approved it immediately, allowing the company to begin production. Chu Qing admired her decisiveness and acknowledged that she deserved the position of president. Suddenly, he received a call from Jia Yu and went to meet him. Jia Yu inquired about the rumor regarding the dragon, but Chu Qing quickly stopped him from discussing it further. Chu Qing was talking to Jia Yu about a new pill that Yi Pharmaceuticals was about to release. He thought it would get really popular fast and outdo the Li and Tang families. He asked Jia Yu to help spread the news. Then Chu Qing went back to the Yi family's place. There, Cao Wei told him the new pill would be out either the next day or in 2 days. Later, Chengxi and her sister came to tell him that Yi Qingmei was in trouble. She'd fallen into a trap set by the Li family, and they'd captured her along with a new pill. They warned Chu Qing that the Li family had skilled fighters and were aiming to ruin the Yi family. He asked for Yi Qingmei's location, and Chengxi said she'd guide him. Chu Qing planned to go alone, but Chengxi insisted on joining, so he knocked her out and left her with Wanqing. With the address in hand, Chu Qing rushed to rescue Yi Qingmei and the pills. Along the way, he realized he couldn't manage it alone. That's when he decided to call Ming Zhu for backup. He had promised to do anything she wanted to convince her to assist him. So when she asked for his sword and mask, he assured her that he would give them to her. Standing up, she prepared to aid him, but then remembered her belly and declined, saying she couldn't go. This angered Chu Qing because he had to plead with her before she agreed to help, despite his previous kindness towards her. He reasoned that he had to find Xiao Wu if things continued this way. Upon reaching Yunshan Mountain, he intervened in the fight between the Li family and Yi Qingmei, disguising himself as Mr. Jian. When Lai Yan urged Mr. Jian to help murder Qingmei and offered him everything the Yi family had promised, he declined. Instead, he insisted on staying in the fight because they had attacked his disciple. The Li family then launched an attack, and Chu Qing defended himself with his sword, using the Thousand Flower single slash technique. However, the move was just for show and couldn't deal much physical damage. He used it to buy time until Xiao Wu arrived to help them. Suddenly, he saw an older man named Wu Dunren, the master of the Swanshan Hall. He perceived he was a real cultivator with a high cultivation level. It felt like he was meeting an acquaintance in a land of strangers. One of the Li family members, Zhang Hudong, attempted to attack Qingmei from behind, but Chu Qing saved her and took the hit instead. The guy discovered Huang Keishan's mark was on him and realized he murdered him. The Li family attacked Chu Qing, and Zhang Hudong attacked Qingmei, leaving a poison mark on her body just as she had much earlier before Chu Qing healed her. Chu Qing reasoned that he couldn't escape with the Yi family and wondered why Xiao Wu had not yet come. He absorbed the poison from Qingmei's body and got weaker. Lai Yan attempted to use this opportunity to attack, but Wu Dunren stopped her. He told Chu Qing that the Swanshan Hall needed a sorcerer and asked if he would be willing to take the position. A few moments later, after the Li family had agreed to murder Qingmei and lead Chu Qing, Dunren told Chu Qing that he would only lock his veins. Chu Qing refused to let him, and they soon started fighting. Chu Qing realized he couldn't beat the old man because he was at a disadvantage and Qingmei was in danger. He thought about how they could escape. Suddenly, Xiao Wu showed up with a gun. Everyone was surprised to see her except Chu Qing, who had called for her, of course. Lai Yan was surprised that she came to save the Yi family and told her the supervision department shouldn't interfere in family wars. Lai Yan tried to attack Qingmei, but Xiao Wu aimed the gun at her. Huang Keishan's master told Lai Yan not to worry too much because Qingmei had already been poisoned and would definitely die. She replied that he had said the same thing last time, but Qingmei was still alive. Afraid of Xiao Wu, the Li family left. Xiao Wu told Chu Qing he owed him a favor and then left. Yi Meyer and her mother arrived and pretended to care about Qingmei. Meanwhile, Yi Meyer's mother was angry that Lai Yan couldn't murder her sister even with the chance she gave her. She took out a poisoned needle and tried to murder her sister herself. Qingmei suddenly said there was an imposter among them. This made Yi Mei stop what she was about to do and quickly hide the needle. Yi Mei responded by saying she would find out who the imposter was and make them pay for it. Chu Qing caught her off guard by replying that she should go ahead and murder herself then. She continued to pretend, and Chu Qing attempted to attack her, but Qingmei stopped him and instructed Yi Mei on what to do when she returned home. After she left, Chu Qing asked why she had stopped him, even though she knew she was the imposter. She replied that it wasn't time for her to face the consequences of her actions yet. Chengxi and Wanqing arrived, relieved to see their mother unharmed. Chengxi was angry and refused to speak to Chu Qing. Back at Yi Pharmaceuticals, Chu Qing and Qingmei stepped aside to talk. Chu Qing learned that the poison in Qingmei had been activated and he couldn't cure it. He informed her that she had only about a month left to live. She asked how long it would take for the poison to weaken her, and he said only 3 days. Qingmei entrusted Chengxi to him and asked him to take care of Wanqing as well, despite the trouble she had caused him. She revealed that she had felt insecure ever since she discovered that their father was a spy from the Li family. He played a role in poisoning Qingmei while she was pregnant with her, leading to her incurable illness. He became depressed and eventually took his own life. King Mei explained that the feud between the Li and Yi families couldn't be resolved, so Chu Qing shouldn't be fooled if the Li family ever talked about making peace. This made Chu Qing wonder why she hadn't murdered Yi Mei when she betrayed the Yi family. King Mei explained to him that Yi Mei used to be the rightful heir of the family. However, after her mother's passing, King Mei was chosen as the next heir instead, which caused Yi Mei to hold a grudge against her. Chu Qing was surprised by this revelation. Later, Qiao Wei emerged from the operating room and updated them on Jingshu's condition. Jingshu, who was injured during the Li family's attack, would remain unconscious for several days, but her life was no longer at risk. Wan Qing instructed Qiao Wei to check on her mother. During the examination, Qiao Wei noticed something amiss, but Chu Qing stopped her from disclosing King Mei's condition and urged her to keep it a secret. Wan Qing became curious about their exchange, but Qiao Wei reassured her that King Mei was perfectly fine. King Mei left to attend to other matters, and Wan Qing took Chengxi to another room. Meanwhile, Qiao Wei questioned Chu Qing's intentions, suspecting he might be planning to take over the Yi family's assets since King Mei's health was deteriorating. Wan Qing asked Chengxi if she noticed anything unusual about Chu Qing and her mother, but Chengxi didn't see any issue. Chengxi returned to her office, and on her way, she encountered Chu Qing. Despite his attempts to reconcile by apologizing for knocking her out earlier, Chengxi remained upset. Chu Qing then kissed her against her will. She told him never to leave her out of anything again, even if it was dangerous. He told her he couldn't do that, and she got angry with him. As she left, Chu Qing told her to go home and be with her mom if she had time. She then remembered what Wan Qing had told her and thought about what Chu Qing had just said. She wondered if something was really wrong with her mom, and she became determined to find out. Chu Qing reasoned that he could only hide their mom's illness for a short time and hoped they would forgive him when they eventually found out. He checked the poison mark on his body and realized his life could also be in danger if triggered, so he decided to get rid of Zhang Hudong. Chengxi went to meet her mom and asked if she could help with anything, but her mom told her to visit the homes of the victims from last night's incident on her behalf. After a while, King Mei called Chu Qing to her office and told him she was giving him one of the Yi family's mansions as compensation for his contribution to the family. She told him to pick up his family as the Yi family was no longer safe. Chu Qing asked if she was going to the Li family and said he would accompany her. She refused, but Chu Qing insisted, saying he could at least retrieve her body if she died. What a ridiculous thing to say. She told him she would be going the next day, and Chu Qing told her he would go find some aid. He told her to wait for him to return, but as he left, he felt she would leave without saying goodbye. Chu Qing headed to the Jijin bar to meet Meng Zui. He entered the bar and saw his sister. He rushed to meet her and asked how she was. Meng Zui showed up and tried to stir up trouble between them, accusing Chu Qing of not coming to save his sister. But Chu Xiao didn't fall for it. Meng Zui suggested they sit and talk. She poured herself and him a drink, but Chu Qing refused, worried it might be poisoned. Meng Zui drank from her glass and then gave it to him. He finished the drink and asked about her conditions for releasing his sister. She told him to be her slave, but he said no and asked her to change her terms. Meng Zui called Chu Xiao to make some drinks for them. Though Chu Qing was still unsure about the drink, his sisters reassured him it wasn't poisoned. He took the drink and found out it was actually poisoned. Chu Xiao was confused and drank it too, but she wasn't affected. Meng Zui explained that the poison only worked on cultivators, and Chu Qing was the only one among them. She ordered her men to throw Chu Xiao out of the bar because she already had the person she needed. Chu Xiao knew she couldn't save her brother alone, so she decided to go call for help. Chu Qing woke up tied to a chair. He found it difficult to use his cultivation powers. Meng Zui told him he couldn't escape because the chair was specially made for him. She claimed everything he had was now hers and moved closer, threatening him with a knife. Chu Qing activated his powers, and a beam of light shot out of his mouth, hitting one of Meng Zui's eyes. He told her to look into his eyes, and she saw one of his eyes glowing. Her eyes started to glow too, and she asked him what it was. He told her it was the life-binding spell. Once someone was cursed with it, the spellcaster and the victim's lives would be bound together, and when one died, the other would die along with them. Chu Qing's bind got loose, and Meng Zui attempted to stab him. Chu Qing grabbed her hand and asked why she hated him so much, even wanting to sacrifice her life to murder him. She freed her hand from his grip and attempted to attack him again, but she slipped and fell. Chu Qing asked what was wrong and said she hadn't progressed, Even though she had swallowed the innate dragon key, she got angry. She told him she had released his sister and told him he should leave too. He tried to settle things with her, but she disagreed with him. Then he told her he needed her help with visiting the Li family the next day. She refused, but he told her she wouldn't be alive if he died. He also told her Qingmei was dying, so she planned to visit the Li family. He said Meng Zui would know why Qingmei wanted to go there, but he didn't know, which was why he came to find her. He offered to give half of his new mansion if she helped him, otherwise she would die too if he died, and he left. Meng Zhu was angry as she now had no choice but to help him. Later, Xing Wei and a few other women from the Xing family returned with Chu Qing to rescue his brother. However, Chu Qing had already left by the time they arrived. As he was leaving, one of the women from the Xing family was surprised to see him. She informed him that his sister had spent the entire night pleading with the mayor, Xing Lai, to aid her brother before finally deciding to help. Xing Wei and Chu Xiao, now accompanied by Meng Zui, inquired about Chu Qing's whereabouts, but the woman refused to disclose the information. This angered Xing Wei, and they engaged in a heated argument. Chu Qing went there and met the two fighting each other. He thanked his sister for helping him. Meng Zui defeated Xing Wei, and when Xing Wei saw that Chu Qing was fine, she got angry and attempted to attack Chu Xiao for tricking the Xing family. Chu Qing stopped her and punched her hard, throwing her off. She asked him what he was doing as he was the reason she came. Chu Qing told her he knew she reluctantly came to rescue him because Xing Lai had ordered, not because she was willing, and told her to go back. She left in anger. Chu Qing took her already exhausted sister and got ready to leave as well, but Meng Zui stopped her and offered to assist, but only if he would lift the life-binding spell. However, Chu Qing admitted he didn't know how to lift the spell and was worried about entrusting his life to her. He asked her to reconsider her condition. Meng Zui mentioned having a doctor who could examine her sister. And while Chu Xiao was being examined, Chu Qing inquired if she had a different request and suggested he marry her. He was shocked and thought she was crazy, but she told him he had to agree to marry her if he wanted her help. He agreed but told her that his name would be in the first position. At first she rejected it but finally agreed, and they went to the court immediately to get married. Chu Qing was surprised that he had really gotten married. After that, Chu Qing said they should go back to the Yi family, and they would visit his parents together later to move to the new mansion Qingmei gave her. Meng Zhu told him that since the Yi family was now unsafe and that Xing family was along the same street as his new mansion, he should bring his family to her place instead. Chu Qing wondered if she was up to anything bad, and she told him that she couldn't do anything bad since they were now married. She requested to see his sword, and he showed it to her. They went to the Yi family, and Meng Zhu told him he wasn't allowed to flirt with other women now that they were married. She said if he did, she'd flirt with other men too, as many as he did. When they arrived at the Yi family's house, Chu Qing got out of the car. As he left, Meng Zui dropped the bombshell that she was pregnant. Chu Qing was shocked and asked if he was the father. She confessed that she had been with too many men to be sure, but she chose him as the father. Chu Qing asked if he wanted her to abort the baby, but she refused. She drove away, leaving Chu Qing frustrated by her games. Chengxi approached him, saying her mom had gone somewhere and felt guilty about it. Chu Qing reassured her and asked her to do him a favor at the company while he went to the Li family's house. There he saw Lai Huanger getting into her car and thought she might know where Qingwei was. He followed her car, but after a while, Lai Huanger realized she was being followed and sped up. Chu Qing had sped up and bumped into her car from behind, causing it to flip over and crash into a nearby bush. When she emerged from the vehicle, Chu Qing grabbed her by the neck. She warned him that if he murdered her, someone would also be sent to murder Chengxi. Chu Qing noticed a resemblance between her and Chengxi and wondered if they were sisters, considering Chengxi's father was a spy from the Li family. He asked if she had met Qingmei, and she replied that she didn't know Qingmei's plans, but only knew that Qingmei had sent Lai Yan a letter, prompting Lai Yan to leave immediately for Fuhan. Afterward, he let her go and got ready to leave. However, Lai Huanger pulled out a gun and fired at him, but he used his power to deflect the bullet, which rebounded and hit her. Despite this, she managed to block it. Chu Qing returned to his car and headed for Fuhan, suspecting that Lai Yan wouldn't be alone. He called Qiao Wei to ask her to help Xiao Wu with something. Feeling nostalgic, he left a message for Meng Zui, informing her that he had gone to Fuhan. Once in Fuhan, he hid in the forest, waiting to see if Qingmei had been exposed. Suddenly, his phone rang. Someone shot in his direction immediately, but he managed to dodge it. He thought the Li family must have mistaken him for King Mei. Zhang Hudong ran toward the sound, thinking it was King Mei. Unexpectedly, King Mei attacked him and then disappeared again. Zhang Hudong met other members of the Li family and informed them that King Mei had assistance. Lai Yan instructed them not to shoot until they were certain it was King Mei. Chu Qing agreed to aid King Mei again, but no one fired their weapon. King Mei decided to lure them out herself and emerged from hiding. One of the Li family members spotted her, but Chu Qing murdered her before she could act. Chu Qing felt disappointed it wasn't Zhang Hudong. Suddenly, Wu Dunran attacked from behind, but Chu Qing managed to dodge it. Wu Dunran warned him that he spared his life this time, unlike before, and just as he prepared to strike, Xiao Wu appeared. Chu Qing tried to help King Mei, but Zhang Hudong blocked him and used his poisonous ki, making Chu Qing feel weak. Zhang Hudong was about to attack Chu Qing again when Meng Zui intervened, shooting at him with her powerful gun. Wu Dunran decided to leave, saying he couldn't get involved anymore. Meng Zui kept shooting at them, forcing the Li family to retreat. Feeling unsatisfied that King Mei wasn't murdered, Lei Yan charged toward her. However, her subordinate urged her to escape while she fought King Mei. Despite King Mei dealing damage to her right away, Lei Yan still pursued King Mei. When King Mei mentioned Lai Yuanbai, Lei Yan stopped abruptly to confront her, claiming King Mei wasn't worthy of mentioning that name. They began fighting soon after. Meanwhile, Chu Qing observed their fight until suddenly, a member of the Li family attacked him from behind, causing him to fall to the ground. She tried to attack him, but Xiao Wu shot her and she ran away. Lai Yan and King Mei kept fighting. They brought out knives and dashed at each other. King Mei sliced Li Yan's throat while Lai Yan stabbed her in the chest. Chu Qing quickly ran to meet King Mei. Before dying, King Mei gave him the two knives and told him to throw them away into the Yun River. Chu Qing reasoned that the knives were the only things related to Chengxi's dad and also the clue to the deep hatred between the Li and Yi families. He considered keeping them but decided to throw them away as he was instructed. Men Zui came running to Chu Qing, asking him to save her from the dragon chasing her because of its innate dragon key with her. Chu Qing immediately used the dragon seal to bind the dragon. Xiao Wu was surprised to see the dragon and came closer to it. The dragon attempted to attack her, but she pointed her gun at it in self-defense and shot the dragon just before Chu Qing could stop her. The shot broke the dragon seal, and it tried to attack her again. Chu Qing attempted to use the dragon seal once more, but couldn't because he was very weak now and couldn't harness his power. However, the dragon got scared and fled. It headed towards where King Mei's body lay, and just before they could stop it from taking her, the dragon snatched her and disappeared into the river. Xiao Wu was astonished to discover a real dragon, contrary to what Xing Lai had claimed. Meng Zui aimed her gun at Xiao Wu, who promised not to disclose the information to the public. Chu Qing clarified that he didn't want Jinmen to experience another upheaval because of the dragon, so he kept the information hidden. He presented Xiao Wu with two options, either to wait for the right moment to reveal the news or for him to take her to capture the dragon when he had the opportunity, making her its owner. She chose the second option and inquired about the perfect timing. He responded that it would be the day the Li family was destroyed. After a while, Chu Qing gave Xiao Wu a formation to give to Gong Yu to cure her illness. The formation helped the user with their martial arts training. He had made 4 of this particular formation and gave one to his mum and Chengxi. Chu Qing told Xiao Wu to advise Gong Yu not to force herself into training anymore, but Xiao Wu replied that there was a reason Gong Yu forced herself to train that much and left. Well, Chu Qing didn't understand what she meant. Meng Zhu got jealous and asked him who Gong Yu was, and he slyly told her that she was his fiance. She kicked him, and he fell to the ground. He asked her to help him get up as he was weak. He explained to her that it was the side effect of Zhang Zudong's poison, which King Mei had no cure for, causing her to go find Lai Yan. Chu Qing brought up the topic of Meng Zhu's pregnancy. He thought she was joking to tease him, but when he scanned her body, he discovered she was actually pregnant. Returning to Meng Zhu's home, Chu Qing rested for a while. Suddenly, Chu Xiao showed up and found her brother unconscious. She panicked, fearing Meng Zui had harmed him, but later learned he was okay. Meng Zui informed her that they were now married and presented marriage certificates, which surprised Chu Xiao. She asked Meng Zui questions about it, but Meng Zui didn't respond. Instead, she instructed Chu Xiao to bring their parents to her place, as the Yi family's safety was at risk. After Chu Qing left, Meng Zhu pondered the chaos the city would face when news of King Mei and Li Yan's deaths spread. Word spreads quickly, and the Yi family confirms the truth. Chengxi feels guilty that Chu Qing knew about her mom's condition but kept it from her. Yi Mei and her daughter arrive, pretending to be concerned. Yi Mei assures them she'll seek revenge for King Mei. Despite knowing Yi Mei's deceitful nature, Yi Wanqing reassures her not to worry, as she and Chengxi plan to avenge their mom alone. Yi Mei and her daughter leave, hoping to eliminate Mr. Jian next so they can fully take over the Yi family. Tang Xian's mother also learns of the news and instructs one of her subordinates to gather more information. The Li family is also determined to seek revenge for Li Yan. Chu Qing suddenly woke up, finding his parents by his side, which surprised him. He wondered why they were at Meng Zui's house. Chu Qing explained that Meng Zui had asked them to come because the Yi family wasn't safe anymore. Chu Qing realized he had been asleep for 2 days and imagined how chaotic the city might have become. He hurriedly got dressed and went to Yi Pharmaceuticals. Yi Wanqing questioned why he hadn't informed them about their mother's injury. He implied that it was his mother's decision not to tell them. Wanqing suspected he knew how to heal her but chose not to. Chengxi remained silent, staring at him sadly. Feeling too tired to explain everything to them, he simply told them he was also deeply saddened by King Mei's death and that he wouldn't gain anything from her passing that would make him not want to cure her if he could. Chengxi, overwhelmed with grief, couldn't accept the fact that her mom had died. She clung to the hope that she was only somewhere trapped. Wanqing then asked him why he had come to them, and he explained that King Mei's dying wish was for Chengxi to become the head of the Yi family. Wanqing suspected his true intentions, thinking he wanted to marry Chengxi after she became the head of the family so he could become the master of the Yi family automatically. Chu Qing agreed, and Wanqing dismissed him. As he left, she asked about their mom's dead body, and Chu Qing told her that the jade dragon had swallowed it in the Yunjing River. Wanqing got angry and tried to grab him, but she ended up breaking down in tears. However, Chengxi didn't say anything to Chu Qing. He left and ran into Kiao Wei. He questioned her about the pill she was making, warning her that he would blame her if anything went wrong. After he left, he thought about the need to refine some nurturing pills for the poison in his body. Once he finished refining them, he went to Meng Zui's place with his last jade stone. Upon seeing her, Chu Qing decided to use his powers to detect whether the baby was his, but Meng Zui avoided it. Chu Qing began coughing blood from using his powers as he had yet to recover from the poison. He gave her the jade he had brought and took his leave. He had no choice. He had to protect the baby, but he sought to find the true father and murder him. Meng Zui wondered what the jade was for and dropped it, assuming it wouldn't benefit the baby. She lay on her bed and tried to sleep but couldn't. She was disturbed by thinking about the jade, so she decided to try absorbing it, but she felt some pain and quickly dropped the jade. However, she realized that the baby was fine and discovered that the jade contained pure inner power, so she started cultivating with it. She thought about Chu Qing and revealed that the baby was actually his, and she had just been trying to provoke him. That night, Zhu Bukun and his other friends met Chu Qing. They told him that they had been focusing on cultivating and had made great progress. They asked him when he would return to school as Tang Xian had been throwing tantrums since he had been absent. Chu Qing asked them what they planned to do after graduation, and they told him they might enroll in university and move on with their lives. Chu Qing asked them if they had ever considered dropping out and pursuing what they wanted. Zhou Bukun replied that they really loved dealing with society and asked him if he could help them speak with Tang Xian so they could be accepted into the Tang family. Chu Qing told them he could introduce them to Kuxing Mengshu, and they were shocked. He told them he wanted them to join Kuxing Mengshu and work in the management department. Zhou Bukun asked him if he worked for Kuxing Mengshu, and he surprised them when he said he was married to Meng Zui. They asked him what he wanted them to do, and he instructed them to find every man connected to Meng Zui. They all reported to Kuxing Mengshu Company the next day, ready to resume work. Chu Qing was surprised that they had really quit school. He introduced Chuxin, Meng Zui's assistant, to them as the one in charge of them. Chuxin reported to Meng Zui that Chu Qing brought his classmates, and Meng Zui wondered if Chu Qing gave her the jade stone in exchange for bringing his guys to her company. At night, Chu Qing met Chengxi in a park. Chengxi told him she didn't know why he treated her so well, even though he didn't want the Yi family's legacy. Chu Qing told her it was because she was easy to persuade and told her he would stay by her side until the Yi family rose to become the strongest family in the city, with her as the patriarch. Chengxi asked him if her mother had told him anything before she died, and he answered that her mother had said he should take care of her and her sister. He added that Wanking was proving too troublesome. Chengxi asked him how he would care for her and told him to help her become the patriarch. Chengxi informed him that Yi Mai had already gained control over most of the Yi family, leaving only a few supporters on their side. She explained that the next day, she and Yi Mai would compete openly for leadership, with the Li and Tang families present to complicate matters for their own gain. Chengxi emphasized the importance of her success, as the Yi family's reputation depended on it. Chu Qing assured her of his support, promising that she would indeed become the patriarch. Shortly afterward, Chengxi received a distressing call about her sister's safety. Chu Qing, concerned, asked if her sister had passed away. Chengxi, angered by the question, bid him in frustration, questioning if he wished her harm. They quickly departed for Chengxi's sister's location, noticing two cars tailing them along the way. Before long, one of the cars overtook them. Yi Mai emerged from the vehicle, surprised to find Chu Qing accompanying Chengxi. She had suspected him of betraying the sisters. She thought that if she murdered Chengxi then, she would have become the patriarch. But she couldn't take that risk. With Chu Qing by her side, she knew it was too dangerous, so she decided to leave right away. At Yi Pharmaceuticals, Chu Qing and Chengxi found Wanking in a ward with Jingshu. Wanking had a broken leg but was otherwise okay. Seeing Chu Qing, Wanking wondered why he was there when he already had Meng Zui with him. However, Jingshu told Chengxi to take her sister out because she wanted some time alone with Chu Qing. She said that even though Wanking didn't like him, she trusted him because King Mi chose to believe in him. Then she asked him what his plans were for the next family meeting. He said it depended on the situation, but one thing was certain, Chengxi would become the patriarch. Chu Qing then asked if Wanking and Chengxi had the same father, which surprised Jingshu. She wondered if King Mi had told him something. Chu Qing said King Mi had shared a brief story, but some parts were unclear. Jingshu told him that King Mi had only given birth to 3 daughters and that Yi Mao was an adopted son. Chu Qing was shocked and asked about the 3rd daughter, mentioning the daggers he had thrown into the Yunjiang River with name inscriptions, Xi and Huan. Jingshu, reluctant to discuss it, told him to leave. As Chu Qing prepared to depart, he pondered what really happened between the Li and Yi families. He told them he wanted them to join Cushing Mengshu and work in the management department. Zhou Bukun asked if he worked for Cushing Mengshu, and they were shocked when he revealed that he was married to Meng Zui. They asked what he wanted them to do, and he told them to find every man connected to Meng Zui. The next day, they all reported to Cushing Mengshu, ready to start working. Chu Qing was surprised that they actually quit school. He introduced Chuxin, Meng Zui's assistant, as the one in charge of them. Chuxin told Meng Zui that Chu Qing had brought his classmates, and Meng Zui wondered if Chu Qing gave her the jade stone in exchange for bringing his friends to her company. That night, Chu Qing met Chengxi in a park. Chengxi said she didn't understand why Chu Qing treated her so well, even though he didn't want the Yi family's legacy. Chu Qing explained that it was because she was easy to persuade and promised to stay with her until the Yi family became the strongest family in the city, with her as the head. Chengxi asked if her mother had said anything to him before she passed away, and he answered that her mother had told him to take care of her and her sister. He added that Wanking was proving to be too difficult. Chengxi then asked him how he planned to take care of her and urged him to help her become the head of the family. Chengxi told him that Yi Mai had already taken control of most of the Yi family, with only a few members still on her side. She explained that she and Yi Mai would fight for the family position the next day in front of everyone, including the Li and Tang families who planned to interfere for their own gain. Chengxi said she couldn't afford to fail, as it would mean the end of the Yi family's name. Chu Qing reassured her, saying she would become the patriarch and that he would handle everything. Later, Chengxi received a call saying her sister was in danger. When Chu Qing asked if her sister had died, Chengxi became angry and bit him, accusing him of wanting her to die. They quickly got into the car and headed to her sister's location. On the way, they noticed 2 cars following them, and soon, one car cut them off. Yi Mai stepped out, surprised to see Chu Qing with Chengxi, as she had thought Chu Qing had already betrayed both sisters. She reasoned that if she murdered Chengxi now, she would become the patriarch. However, if she died, considering that Chu Qing was with her, everything would end. She couldn't risk her life on this, so she turned around and left immediately. Chu Qing and Chengxi arrived at Yi Pharmaceuticals, where they met Wanking and Jingshu in a hospital ward. Wanqing's leg was broken, but she was otherwise fine. When Wanqing saw Chu Qing, she asked why he was there since he already had Meng Zui with him. Jingzhu, however, asked Chenxi to take her sister out because she wanted to speak with Chu Qing alone. Jingzhu told him that even though Wanqing didn't like him, she trusted him because Qingmei trusted him. She then asked what his plan was for the next family meeting. Chu Qing responded that it would depend on the situation, but one thing was clear: Chenxi would become the patriarch. Chu Qing then asked if Wanqing and Chenxi had the same father, which shocked Jingzhu. She wondered if Qingmei had told him anything. Chu Qing explained that Qingmei had mentioned some details, but some were unclear. Jingzhu told him that Qingmei had only given birth to 3 daughters and that Yi Mao was an adopted son. Chu Qing, surprised, asked about the 3rd daughter, noting that the daggers he had thrown into the Yunjing River had the names Sei and Huang engraved on them. Jingzhu, unwilling to discuss it, told him to leave. As Chu Qing prepared to leave, he wondered what had really happened between the Li and Yi families. Wanqing told Chenxi that Chu Qing was only trying to take advantage of her and would leave her once he achieved his goal. She also mentioned that he had been living at Kuxing Mengshu and had even brought his parents there, implying that he was a man only interested in wealth and status. Chenxi tried to defend him, but Wanqing refused to listen. When Chu Qing arrived at Kuxing Mengshu, he was stunned by Meng Zu's beauty. She playfully teased him, making him shy. She then asked why he had come to see her, and he asked her to accompany him to the Yi family the next day. Meng Zu refused, saying she wanted to return to bed, but Chu Qing blocked her path and asked if the baby in her womb had absorbed the heavenly dragon aura. He wondered how the dragon would feel if it realized its aura had been taken by a mere child. Frightened, Meng Zui agreed to go with him to the Yi family's meeting. Chu Qing assured her that he wasn't trying to scare her but was just telling the truth, as the heavenly dragon's aura would have effects on anyone who absorbed it, especially a baby. Meng Zui, now even more frightened, asked how the baby could be affected. Chu Qing explained that the baby could either become disabled or die in the womb. Upon hearing this, Meng Zui began to cry and asked him what she could do to prevent it. He assured her that he would care for the baby no matter what happened and then left. She was determined to protect the baby with her life, unlike her mother, who had neglected her when she was young. In Chu Qing's room, he was worried about the poison in his body, which was stopping him from using his power. However, he dismissed it, saying it was nothing as he had already lived 2 lives, and facing death again didn't concern him. The next day, he saw Meng Zu's car and tried to break the window to get in and take it for his mission. But Meng Zui appeared and handed him the key. She had decided to join him, believing it was the perfect chance to strengthen Kuxing Mengshu's force. She told him that if they encountered wolves along the way, he would have to help her. They drove off, and while on their way, Chu Qing told her about a creature that could assist with the heavenly dragon's aura. He explained that this creature usually stayed near the baby dragon to help nurture the aura. Without it, the baby dragon wouldn't be able to handle the aura. They would need to find this creature if Meng Zui's baby was going to be safe, though the baby's soul would still have a dragon part. Meng Zu was surprised and said she would look for the creature when they returned, but Chu Qing told her that the creature wasn't near the jade dragon and he was the only one who could find it. After some time, they arrived at the Yi family mansion and went inside. When Chenxi saw Chu Qing, she tried to greet him, but Wanqing stopped her. Tang Rong, the head of the Tang family, asked Meng Zui why she was there. Meng Zui replied that she had come to destroy everything she had worked for. She mocked Tang Rong and the Tang family, saying she was only there to enjoy the drama between the families and told them not to worry. Tang Rong, not wanting to upset her, backed off and complained that Chu Qing shouldn't be allowed into the Yi family's assembly hall. The others agreed, but Chenxi explained that Chu Qing was her fiance and should be allowed to attend. Tang Rong argued that men were usually not allowed at such meetings and pointed out that Chu Qing didn't behave like a proper husband. Instead, he spent time with other women. Chu Qing responded by asking if he ever said he wanted to join the meeting, then insulted Tang Rong, saying she was acting like a monkey. Angry, Tang Rong tried to attack him, but Meng Zui fired a shot from her gun. Yi Mai stepped in, stopping the fight, and told everyone to sit inside. However, Chu Qing refused to join since he knew his presence wasn't welcome. The meeting to decide the next head of the Yi family began. Chu wondered why Yi Meyer and the Supreme Realm martial artist from the Tang family hadn't shown up on such an important day. He figured that Yi Mi and Tang Rong had some hidden plans. Yi Mi announced the start of the voting, but Tang Rong interrupted and asked what qualifications a candidate must meet to become the head of the family. Yi Mei replied that the person must be a member of the Yi family, carry the blood of their ancestors, and have made significant contributions to the family. After hearing this, Tang Rong nominated the fourth elder, Yi Tao, who happily accepted. Yi Mei felt betrayed because Yi Tao had promised to vote for her the night before. Chu then started clapping, which made Yi Mei curious. He told everyone that Tang Rong had done something impressive by nominating Yi Tao. Chu also told Yi Tao that he was eager to know what kind of deal she had made with Tang Rong or what she had given up for the nomination. Yi Tao angrily insulted him, and Meng Zui pointed her gun at her. Tang Rong accused Meng Zui of coming to the meeting just to cause trouble. Meng Zui fired the gun at the ceiling, blowing a hole in the roof. Chaos almost broke out, but Chu Qing stepped in and suggested they vote on Tang Rong's nomination first. The votes tied at 2-2, and now Chu Qing waited for Tang Rong to reveal her next move. Tang Rong signaled to the seventh elder of the Yi family, and she also voted in favor of Yi Tao, putting Yi Tao in the lead. Yi Mei grew angrier, feeling betrayed by the seventh elder. Chu Qing secretly told Meng Zui to lend her gun to Yi Mei. Yi Mei took the gun and immediately killed Yi Tao. Meng Zui then quickly took the gun back from Yi Mei, pretending she wasn't involved. Tang Rong, furious, tried to attack Yi Mei, but the Li family protected her. Tang Rong demanded proof that Yi Tao had betrayed her, and Wanqing brought out a flash drive. She connected it to a computer, showing pictures of Yi Tao meeting Tang Rong at a tea house 2 days earlier. Tang Rong denied anything suspicious, but Wanqing revealed she also had a recording. Tang Rong got scared and left quickly to avoid being exposed. As she was leaving, Chu Qing asked if she still remembered Lai Yue, but she didn't answer. Once outside, she was angry that Wanqing had messed up her plans. She thought about Chu Qing's question and told her subordinate to gather the others and head to the Li family. Yi Mei suggested they continue with the voting, but first she brought up that someone had tried to assassinate her daughter the night before, leaving her seriously injured. She accused Chengxi of being the one responsible, but no one said anything. Feeling awkward at the silence, Yi Mei explained that she wanted to find Chengxi right away, but Meyer had stopped her, so she brought Meyer to the meeting to ask Chengxi directly and avoid any misunderstanding. Some people then brought Meyer in on a stretcher, and as they walked, Chu Qing stuck his foot out, causing one of them to trip and fall. Chu Qing then took out a gun and fired at Meyer, but she quickly jumped and dodged the bullet. Seeing this, he began to mock her. She left in shame. The voting began, and they started to cast their votes for either Yi Mei or Chengxi. The seventh elder, Yi Xing, voted for Yi Mei. However, Yi Yu, the sixth elder, objected, saying Yi Xing shouldn't be allowed to vote because she had sold herself to the Tang family. While Yi Yu was speaking, Yi Mei fired a shot at the wall near her, threatening her. Yi Mei then declared herself the new head of the Yi family and signaled the Li family to attack. She unleashed her power and attacked Chengxi and Weining. Chu Qing quickly swallowed some pills and became very powerful. A martial master tried to stop him, but Chu Qing punched him and summoned his sword. He rushed at Yi Ling, the fifth elder, and murdered her. Then he turned to attack Yi Mei, but Lai Huanger blocked him, and they exchanged powerful blows. Chu Qing felt pain and wondered when she had learned this poisonous skill. He reasoned that her poison power was stronger than Zhang Xudong's. Yi Mei criticized him for murdering Yi Ling and demanded an explanation. She even brought it up to Chengxi, but Chengxi said he hadn't done anything wrong. Wanqing presented a file that claimed Yi Ling had committed many crimes and used her position for personal gain, making her guilty and deserving of death. Yi Mei argued that even if Yi Ling was guilty, it wasn't Chu Qing's right to murder her, as it went against the rules of the Yi family. Chu Qing asked her who gave her the authority to convict him. She replied that she had the authority because she was now the head of the family. Chu Qing laughed and pointed out that since she agreed Yi Ling deserved death, her vote should be annulled, which meant she wasn't really the patriarch yet. Yi Mei got angry and vowed to murder Chu Qing. They all prepared to attack him, but he warned them he had backup besides Meng Zui. However, Lai Yuan, an elder of the Li family, revealed that Chu Qing was already poisoned by Zhang Xudong's poisonous palm and told him to stop pretending to be strong. Chu Qing was shocked. He hadn't known anyone else knew about his poisoning. He reminded the Li family that Tang Rong had left and was likely heading to destroy the Li family. Lai Huanger became angry, but Meng Zui shot her gun at her before she could attack Chu Qing. Lai Huanger suggested they go home, but Yi Mei disagreed. She said the Li family had promised to make her the patriarch if she agreed to turn the Yi family into a branch of the Li family in return. Lai Huanger did not listen. When Yi Mei tried to attack her, Lai Huanger used her power to throw Yi Mei away. Chengxi was shocked that even Yi Mei was not strong enough to defeat Lai Huanger and wondered how Lai Huanger had become so powerful. Knowing that the Yi family would not support her since the Li family had already backed out, Yi Mei escaped through a window. Wanking asked Chu Qing if he was really injured, as Le Yuan had claimed, but Chu Qing did not open up about it. He thought Wanking was cruel and would take any chance to get rid of him without mercy. Xiao Wu entered the scene, holding the lifeless body of Yi Mei, and then left. Yi Mei saw her mother and ran towards her. As she passed Chu Qing, he unintentionally transferred some of his yin energy into her body. Yi Mei then revealed a detonator and threatened to blow up the thousands of explosives underneath them. Chu Qing asked her what she wanted, and she replied that they should let her go. Chu Qing agreed, but Wanking protested. He then asked Yi Mei if she wanted anything else, and she demanded 5 billion. However, Chu Qing was just trying to buy time until the poison he had transferred into her body began to take effect. Suddenly, the detonator fell from her hand, and sores began to spread all over her body until she died. Chu Qing was so affected by the poison that he could hardly suppress it again. Wanking and Chengxi realized that the poison had affected their mom, and they wondered if Chu Qing was also affected. Wanking dismissed all the elders and asked Chengxi to push her wheelchair toward Chu Qing. Wanking spitefully congratulated Chu Qing on finally achieving his goals and asked him when he would marry Chengxi to enjoy the fruits of his victory. However, Meng Zui interrupted and said they were now married, and Chu Qing wouldn't be marrying into the Yi family. Chengxi was shocked. She snatched the marriage certificate to see if it was true. Meng Zui then warned Wanking not to say anything offensive to Chu Qing again. As Chu Qing took his leave, he reasoned that Lai Huanger's palm had induced more poison into his body, and he wondered what technique she used to quickly increase her combat power. On his way out, he met Jingshu, but he couldn't hide the poison's side effects anymore and began coughing up blood. Meng Zui told Chengxi not to look for Chu Qing anymore, and she left too. Chengxi burst into tears, and Jingshu found her crying. Chengxi told them that she ran into Chu Qing, and he seemed seriously injured. Chu Qing managed to get outside and saw Xiao Wu. He fell into her arms and asked her to take him to Kuxing Mengshu. Meng Zui saw them and felt jealous. When they arrived at Kuxing Mengshu, Xiao Wu helped him out of the car, but Meng Zui quickly took him from her. She told Xiao Wu to come back later when he was feeling better if she wanted to ask him anything. Xiao Wu protested that he was her lady's fiance and insisted she wouldn't leave. Meng Zui carried him inside and roughly dropped him on the bed, telling him to stop pretending. She was angry that he sought out Xiao Wu when he was weak instead of her. Chu Qing grabbed a pen and paper, writing a list of medicinal materials for her to get so he could treat his wounds. Later, Xiao Wu came to see him, and he gave her a martial arts jade pendant as gratitude for her help, saying it would help repair her nerves. She told him that she hadn't helped him much this time and would assist him again when he faced the Li family. Chu Qing said the Li family had to be dealt with within 10 days, and she asked how he planned to murder them. He said he would give the Tang family courage and the Yi family strength. Then Xiao Wu told him that the poison in his body was called Wu Sha, a dangerous martial art technique used by the Empress to control dead men. She explained that the palace chief could remove it, and he could go to the imperial capital to ask Gong Yu for help if needed. She added that Wu Sha was a technique created by past empresses to limit the world's martial artists. Chu Qing wondered how Lai Huanger could practice this technique and gain strength quickly, even though it was hard to master. Xiao Wu replied that it made sense since the Li family had part of the Wu Sha technique. She also warned him that the technique had drawbacks. It drained the potential and talent of the user, ruining their martial arts path and limiting their progress. Meng Zui arrived with the medicines Chu Qing had asked for, and both she and Xiao Wu left the room so he could start his cultivation. A week later, Wanking and Chengxi were worried that Chu Qing had not shown up since he left. Tao Wei arrived with good news. The drug she had been working on, King Yi No, too, was finally developed, and it was better than other options on the market. Wanking told them that they must keep it a secret because they wouldn't be able to protect it with their current strength. Chu Qing's mother met Meng Zui to ask about her son. A few days earlier, Chu Qing's mother had confronted Meng Zui, questioning what she had done to him. Meng Zui revealed that she and Chu Qing were now married, shocking Chu Qing's parents. Upon hearing this, Chu Qing's father blamed Chu Xiao for forcing Chu Qing to marry Meng Zui. Chu Qing's parents began to treat Meng Zui like their daughter, which surprised her, as she had been mistreated by her own mother when she was younger and had never experienced such kindness. In the present, Meng Zui wondered if she should tell Chu Qing's mother everything. Suddenly, a woman rushed in to announce that Chu Qing had finally left his room, surprising everyone. Chu Qing was taken aback to see his mother and looked at Meng Zui, questioning if she had shared anything with her. Meng Zui signaled no. He then made up an excuse for staying in his room and went to take a bath. After a while, Chu Qing returned from the bathroom, hoping his mother had left. He thought he might have to tell her the truth if she kept bothering him. He was surprised to find Meng Zui in his room and asked about his mother. Meng Zui explained that she had left for an urgent matter at her company. She inquired about his injury, but he didn't know how to answer and said he had only managed to temporarily suppress the poison in his body, not eliminate it. They discussed the situations with the Tang, Li, and Yi families, and Chu Qing told Meng Zui he needed to help the Yi family regain its power. Meng Zui reacted with jealousy, but Chu Qing reassured her he would do the same for her. Annoyed, Meng Zui left, leaving Chu Qing surprised by her jealousy. As Chu Qing prepared to head to the Yi family, he encountered Zhuo Bukun and his group. They informed him they had discovered what he asked them to find out. Meng Zui had close relationships with only 3 women and no men. This surprised Chu Qing, and he realized that the baby in Meng Zui's womb must be his. He quickly turned and ran to her room, hugged her, and asked if she had anything to tell them. Meng Zui did not understand what he was doing and sent him away in anger. At Yi Pharmaceuticals, Chu Qing told the team to launch King Yi No 2, but Wanking disagreed, saying they could not protect it if a war started. However, Chu Qing urged them to think about the long term. He mentioned that Shaizen Auction House would hold a large-scale medicine auction the next day, with forces from Jinmen and neighboring cities participating. He explained that they needed to share the interests of King Yi No 2 to form alliances with other major cities. This would make it harder for the Tang family to take the drug, as they would also have to deal with the families from other cities. Wanking asked what would happen if they couldn't pull it off, but he reassured her that it would be done. Chu Qing then went to Jia Yu's place and asked him to organize a medicine auction. Jia Yu said it was a difficult task because he had to follow the proper procedures, which would take 3 days. Chu Qing insisted that he wanted it done the next day, leaving Jia Yu shocked. They left the house and discussed the auction while driving. Chu Qing asked Jia Yu how quickly he could do it. Jia Yu replied that it would take 2 days if he hurried, but only if he bent the rules and skipped the proper process. He warned that doing so could lead to serious consequences. Not wanting to take that risk, Chu Qing told him to proceed slowly. However, Jia Yu expressed his desire to speed things up, saying he had always lived a boring life by following the rules. Jia Yu took Chu Qing to his home to meet his grandma. He told her about his plans to hold a medicine auction the next night and asked her to help invite people from Jinmen and nearby cities. His grandma was surprised and said it was too sudden. Jia Yu replied that he had just made the decision and urged her to tell the family it was urgent. Meanwhile, Chu Qing returned to see Wanking and found that she hadn't started any preparations. She admitted that she didn't believe at first that they could pull it off, but said she would start preparing right away. Chu Qing reassured her that he had planned everything carefully and warned that if it failed, he would cut ties with the Yi family for good. When he got home and entered his room, he found Meng Zui there. She asked about the auction plans, and he was shocked, wondering how she knew. Meng Zui revealed that she wanted to murder Zhuo Bukun and his men, feeling it was important to inform Chu Qing first since they were his people. She accused them of murdering someone they shouldn't have and questioned who had ordered it. Chu Qing admitted that he was responsible, which made her angry because she thought he had brought them in to spy on her. In response, Chu Qing pulled her close and kissed her. Meng Zui pushed him away and slapped him. He got angry and left the room to check if Zhuo Bukun and his group were okay. He found out they were fine. Meng Zui hadn't harmed them, and he felt tricked by Meng Zui. The medicine auction soon started at the Shizhen auction house. Wanking was surprised not to see Chu Qing. When it was the Yi family's turn, they presented King Yi No 2. After a proper evaluation, they won the auction. Tang Rong was shocked that the Yi family beat the Tang family, who had been refining medicine for hundreds of years. The Li family was also shocked because they never expected the Yi family to win, even though they already knew the Tang family would. People from other cities praised the Yi family for producing such an excellent drug. Jia Yu reported to Chu Qing over a video call that the auction event was a success. Tang Rong checked the news about the auction and felt angry that the Tang family lost to the Yi family. In just a few days, the Yi family gained 80% of the market and formed alliances with many other groups. A lady rushed in to tell Tang Rong that even if they raised the prices of their medical materials, they couldn't overpower the Yi family, as King Mei had invested all her resources in pharmaceuticals. They had enough inventory to keep producing King Yi No, 2 for 3 years. Hearing this made Tang Rong cough heavily, and he almost collapsed. Meanwhile, Lai Huanger also received the news that most members of the Li family had run away. Lai Huanger declared that the Li family was finished and said anyone who wanted to leave should go. The next day, Chengsu was missing and not answering her calls. Chu Qing got a call from Wanqing, who told him they couldn't find Chengxi. He guessed that the Lai or Tang families must have taken her hostage. Wanqing said it wasn't them, as they would have made their demands. She told him that Chengxi had her reasons for not answering calls and that she was worried Chengxi might do something foolish. Chu Qing was shocked and asked her what she meant. She explained that Chengxi had sorted out their mother's belongings 2 days earlier and must have found some secrets about her biological father. Wanqing revealed that she and Chengxi were not siblings from the same parents. However, she was shocked when Chu Qing told her he already knew and mentioned other details, such as Yi Mao being adopted and that they had another sister. Wanqing told him that Chengxi's other sister was taken back to the Li family by their father when she was still a baby. She speculated that Chengxi must have discovered all this and might also think Lai Huanger was her other sister. She expressed her fear that Chengxi had gone to the Li family to seek revenge after learning about the old grudges between the Li family and the Yi family. Chu Qing told Wanqing he would find Chengxi while she prepared to go to the Li family to bring Chengxi back. Wanqing saw this as a chance to end the Li family for good. Chu Qing went to the park where Chengxi had taken him the day before and began asking officials there about her whereabouts. They told him that she had come by but had already left. Chu Qing figured she must be heading for the Li family, so he chased after her. He finally caught up with her and blocked her way. Chengxi asked him if he had come to stop her, and he replied that he came to accompany her to the Li family. She told him she had made an appointment with Lai Huanger for a life-and-death fight in front of the Li family's house. Chu Qing thought that she still did not know the truth about King Mei. They left their cars behind and walked to the Li family house. Chu Qing warned her that she could not beat Lai Huanger, who had become very powerful even more than he was. Chengxi asked about Chu Qing's injuries and took his hand, telling him they should go home. He asked why, and she replied that she did not want all his efforts for her to be wasted if she died now. Then she asked him when he would fulfill his promise to give her all of Jinmen, and he assured her that he would make it happen. Wanqing arrived with her men, ready to fight the Li family. Tang Ji also came with Xiao Wu and the Chengfeng army. When Chu Qing saw Tang Ji, he suspected that Tang Rong was planning something, so he secretly called Meng Zui to send someone to watch over the Yi family. The Li family appeared and wondered how to handle the situation. Someone from inside suddenly ran out, shouting about a back door, and was seriously hurt. Meng Zui arrived and informed Chu Qing that she had already sent someone to watch over the Yi family. Suddenly, Tang Rong made a grand entrance with a truck through the back door. She thanked Chu Qing for blocking the Li family from escaping. Tang Rong ordered her man, Tang Lian, to fight Lai Yuan while she faced Lai Huanger. Tang Rong rushed towards Lai Huanger. Tang Rong hit Lai Huanger with her palm, but Lai Huanger was not hurt. Instead, she turned to chase after Tang Lian. From behind, she struck Tang Lian with her poisonous palm while Tang Lian faced Lai Yuan, causing him to fall to the ground. This action created an explosion. Lai Yuan tried to dodge the blast, but Tang Ji unexpectedly kicked her, knocking her down. Tang Ji approached her and tormented her. However, Lai Huanger quickly grabbed a gun and shot Lai Yuan, murdering her. Everyone was shocked. After dropping the weapon, Lai Huanger attacked Chu Qing with her poisonous palm, sending him flying about 30 meters. He began to cough up blood. Lai Huanger ran away, and Chu Qing realized that her palm had removed the poison from his body. Wanqing suggested they chase after Lai Huanger, but Chu Qing advised her to let her go, saying the Li family was now destroyed. Wanqing then expressed her desire to confront the Tang family, but Chu Qing stopped her, telling everyone to retreat since their mission was accomplished. Chengxi gave a brief speech and dismissed everyone. Suddenly, Wanqing felt unwell and started coughing up blood. Chu Qing checked her condition and Chengxi carried her away. They all left, leaving only Chu Qing and Meng Zhu behind. Meng Zui discovered that his spiritual power had returned and asked why Lai Huanger had saved him. He tried to explain, but she told him not to bother. Then she asked how Tang Rong had taken advantage of the fight to destroy the Li family. It turned out that Chu Qing had already agreed with her, which benefited both of them. Meanwhile, at the Xing family's house, Xing Lai was angry that Tang Rong had missed a great opportunity to defeat the Yi family for a small profit. Later, she thought that Tang Rong was being clever, trying to win over the Yi family's allies before planning to eliminate them. At Qixing Mengshu, Meng Zui asked Chu Qing what his plans were after dealing with the Yi family. He replied that he would catch the dragon to protect his son. Then Chu Qing told her he would be moving to Vermilion Bird Street and wanted her to move in with him. Meng Zui blushed. The next day, Chu Qing and his family went to the mansion on Vermilion Bird Street. Chu Qing met Xing Lai at the Xing family's house to tell her that he had moved to Vermilion Bird Street, which was the challenge she gave his sister if she wanted to marry her son. He asked when her son would marry his sister. She replied that she already knew he would come and suggested that his sister and her son should get engaged first, with the marriage planned for Chinese New Year. When Chu Qing asked why she wanted that, she said it was because she also wanted him to marry her daughter. Chu Qing was shocked and refused, saying he was not worthy of marrying into such a well-known family. Afterward, he went to the Zhai family's house, where he found them punishing Zhai Yu for using the family's name for a medicine auction without permission. Zhai Yu was happy to see Chu Qing and took him to a private area to talk. He expressed excitement about seeing the green dragon that Chu Qing promised to show him. Chu Qing told him he needed some purple bamboo that was at least 100 years old from the purple bamboo forest. Zhai Yu immediately contacted someone to find it, and then Chu Qing returned home. He reached out to Chengxi and Xiao Wu to tell them he would catch the green dragon in 2 days. While he was doing this, Meng Zui saw him and took his phone to see who he was chatting with. She said she wanted to come along, but Chu Qing objected because she was pregnant. Meng Zui asked why he had asked her for help when he was in danger but was now worried about her being pregnant. She insisted that she would go, and he reluctantly accepted. Then Meng Zui suddenly grabbed him and kissed him, and of course he kissed her back. Chu Xiao barged in to disturb them, but her father warned her and told them to continue. After a while, Chu Qing received a call from Zhai Yu, who said he had a purple bamboo forest filled with many old purple bamboos. He asked if Chu Qing wanted a few or wanted to buy the whole forest. Chu Qing decided to buy the entire forest, believing it must be a treasure because of the old bamboos. After hanging up, Meng Zui expressed that she had a bad feeling and wondered if he had offended someone who might want revenge. Suddenly, Elder Xing Wei arrived and told him that Xing Lai wanted him to come over immediately. Chu Qing was surprised and told her that Xing Lai could have just called him. But Xing Wei warned that he wouldn't be able to return if he didn't go with her right away. Chu Qing went to the Xing family's residence, where Xing Lai greeted him with a hard punch. He wondered how he had offended her again. She told him that he had hidden the truth about the green dragon. In response, Chu Qing reminded her that she had made his sister wait outside all night before deciding to help him when he needed it. He declared that they were even now. Xing Lai informed him that news from the Yunjing River had leaked, and a group of second-generation elders had come to investigate from the royal capital, asking her what she knew about the green dragon. She added that she could handle the juniors, but that the real problem was with their family elders, who had sent letters demanding she hand him over. She also mentioned that the elders were still at her house. Chu Qing was shocked. He couldn't let anyone take the green dragon from him, especially since his child could be in danger. He asked her to help him delay the elders and wanted to know what she wanted in return. She said she wanted the green dragon's tail. He replied that he could only give that to her if he managed to catch the green dragon, as a third party was now involved. Afterward, he went home and wondered who had leaked the message. He suspected it might be Zhai Yu or Chengxi. Then he received a call from Xiao Wu, who asked what they should do, as the Imperial City would soon come looking for them too. Chu Qing told her that people from the Imperial City were already in Jinmen and asked if she didn't know this. Xiao Wu realized that Chu Qing suspected her of leaking information about the green dragon, so she insisted that she was not the one responsible. Chu Qing then told her to pack her things, head to Cloud Mountain, and wait for him at the Purple Summit. He mentioned that Zhai Yu would be there too and instructed her to tell him that he sent her. After the call, Xiao Wu understood that she had to help Chu Qing catch the green dragon, otherwise he would murder her. Chu Qing left his room and saw a stranger greeting his family. His mother introduced her as Chu Lan, his cousin. Chu Qing remembered that Gong Yu said her engagement was supposed to be with him. He greeted her awkwardly and excused himself to return to his room, but Chu Lan approached him and said she wanted to discuss something in his room. Once they were in the room, Chu Lan revealed that she had come because of the green dragon. She asked Chu Qing to share everything he knew about it, offering to reward him with millions. However, Chu Qing pretended to be ignorant, and Chu Lan threatened to deal with him if he refused to talk. Despite this, Chu Qing told her to leave when she was done. This made Chu Lan angry, and she launched an attack. Chu Qing, being stronger, punched him before he could react, sending him flying. Chu Lan attacked again with the golden palm strike, but Chu Qing easily dissolved the attack. Chu Qing grabbed him by the neck, and Chu Lan asked if his mother taught him those techniques. He told Chu Qing that his mother promised the Chu family she would never teach anyone martial arts after her cultivation was damaged, but she had broken her vow. Chu Qing took this chance to ask why the Chu family treated his mother that way. Chu Lan explained that his father was drugged and put on the sixth elder's bed. When his mother was lured into the room and saw her husband, she became furious and murdered the sixth elder. Chu Qing started to choke him, wanting to murder him, but then he thought that if he murdered Chu Lan, the Chu family might come after his family. So he let him go and sent him out of his room. The next day, Chu Qing and Meng Zui left home to begin their mission to catch the green dragon. On their way, Chu Qing told Meng Zui about the leaked information concerning the green dragon. She became worried for her child, but Chu Qing assured her he would do everything he could to catch the green dragon and bring back the necessary supplies for the child's survival. They went to Chengxi's place to pick her up, and Chu Qing suspected Wan Qing of leaking the information. When they arrived at the Yi family's mansion, Chu Qing confronted Wan Qing about the leak, and she admitted it with a serious look. He grabbed her neck and tried to choke her, but Chengxi begged him to stop. He let her go but threatened that he would bury her with the green dragon if anything happened to it. Then he left with Meng Zui and Chengxi, while Wan Qing began to cry. Her phone's wallpaper was revealed, showing a picture of Chu Qing. Did she have feelings for him? After arriving at Cloud Mountain, they met Xiao Wu and Jia Yu, who were already waiting for them. Xiao Wu felt a bit scared of what Chu Qing might do, but she tried to relax around him since she hadn't done anything wrong. She mentioned her friend, who also came from the imperial capital, and wanted to ask about the green dragon. However, she said she hadn't told her friend anything and suggested bringing her in since the information about the green dragon had leaked anyway, and they could ask her to pay too. Chu Qing told Jia Yu to take care of the business matters while he went into the forest to get something. After a while, he returned with a purple bamboo stick and noticed a new lady standing with them. Jia Yu informed him that the lady was willing to pay a staggering 500 million right away. Looking at her, Chu Qing realized she was special and unlike the other foolish people from the imperial capital. The lady introduced herself as Shu and complimented his looks. Feeling confident, Chu Qing replied that he expected her to ask how much it would cost to spend the night with him. Shu laughed and asked anyway. Meng Zui and Chengxi got angry at this. Chu Qing handed the bamboo stick to Jia Yu while he went to find more, as they needed to make a bamboo raft before they left. Jia Yu remarked that if he had known this was what Chu Qing needed, he could have gotten people to make thousands of them in a day without much effort or time. Shu insulted him, saying he was blind, and asked if his golden eye, as the manager of the auction house, was only for show. Jia Yu felt embarrassed and decided to use his golden eye. He discovered that the bamboo stick was so powerful that it affected his eye. Then they all entered the forest to search for more bamboo, leaving Chu Qing and Shu behind. Shu tried to touch the bamboo rod in Chu Qing's hand, but he took it away, saying it wasn't for her to touch. She then teased him by referring to his long rod. Chu Qing asked her why she didn't come with her colleagues from the second-generation group in the imperial capital. She replied that she was more interested in him than in the green dragon and revealed that she knew a lot about him and his family. Chu Qing realized she was from the Gong family, which made him angry. He attempted to attack her with the purple bamboo rod, but she dodged. She informed him that he was supposed to marry her and that Chu Lan should have married Gong Yu, but those plans had changed. Chu Qing asked her if Gong Yu losing her abilities had anything to do with her. She got angry and attacked him. Chu Qing blocked her attack, but realized she had a strong cultivation base and martial arts talent. When Chu Qing launched his own attack, she easily blocked it with one arm, showing she was much stronger than him. Chu Qing figured that Gong Shu was Gong Yu's enemy, but had a close relationship with Xiao Wu, Gong Yu's confidant. Gong Shu told him not to think too much about the issues between her and Gong Yu because it was very complicated. She mentioned that more than 30 people had come from the imperial capital, and among them, 3 were so powerful that even she couldn't handle them. She advised him that if he wasted his energy like this, he might not even get the green dragons done, let alone the other important parts. Jia Yu and the others returned with the bamboo shaft they had made and headed to Yunjian. They traveled upstream on the raft, paddling overnight but not finding the green dragon. Jia Yu, already tired, asked Chu Qing how much longer they had to paddle. Chu Qing replied that he didn't know. Meanwhile, the second-generation group was in the same area, searching for the green dragon on land. They were already exhausted. After a while, Chu Qing noticed that the bamboo had changed color and guessed that the green dragon was downstream, which meant they needed to turn around and head back. He explained that the purple bamboo came from the energy of Tai Weifeng, and its movement could help them explore the Yunjiang fortune, making it the best way to find the green dragon. Su, one of the 3 powerful members of the second-generation group, used her compass and confirmed that they had to go back. The second-generation team got angry, but turned around anyway. Meng Zui asked Chu Qing if the second-generation group would find the green dragon before them, and he told her they wouldn't. Chengxi felt sad and jealous seeing Meng Zui and Chu Qing together. Gong Shu noticed this and asked Chengxi if she liked Chu Qing too. Chengxi responded with hostility, and Gong Shu pointed out that she and Meng Zui had no chance with him since he already had a marriage contract with the Gong family. However, Chengxi shocked her by saying that Chu Qing and Meng Zui were already married. Gong Shu got angry and tried to attack Meng Zui, but Chu Qing protected her and almost fell into the river. He managed to use a bamboo stick to regain his balance and return to the raft. Chu Qing asked what the problem was, and Gong Shu replied that Meng Zui had dared to force him to marry her when he already belonged to the Gong family. Chu Qing explained that he had offered to marry her and hadn't been forced. Meng Zui was surprised that Chu Qing defended her, knowing that she had actually pressured him into the marriage. Chu Qing told Gong Shu that he and Gong Yu didn't agree with the marriage contract, but she didn't listen and kept yelling at him. He then suggested they talk about it later, or that she should leave the ship if she planned to keep causing trouble. She asked him what he thought of the marriage contract, and he replied that he had already thrown it in the trash. She yelled back, warning him to be ready for the wrath of both the Gong and Chu families. Meng Zhu quietly asked if he still had the contract, but he reassured her that he really had thrown it away. Chengxi looked upset because she really liked Chu Qing. Suddenly, Chu Qing felt something in the river with a bamboo stick, which also changed color. Jia Yu used his golden eye to see what was in the water and noticed a huge energy flow. Chu Qing asked if anyone could swim, and Jia Yu said he could. Chu Qing then told him to dive in and fetch whatever was in the water. Jia Yu got scared and hesitant, but Gong Shu kicked him into the water. After some time, Jia Yu came back with a few snails, saying they were the only things he saw down there. Chu Qing was surprised, recognizing they were a special kind of snail. He told Jia Yu to get more. When Jia Yu returned, they all wondered what to do with the snails. Chu Qing told them to fry and eat them. They were shocked, but Jia Yu offered to cook the meal. When he finished, they all ate. However, Chu Qing told them that he and Meng Zui wouldn't be eating. Meng Zui was confused, wondering why he didn't want her to taste the delicious food Jia Yu made. A while after they finished eating, Chengxi wished for another serving, and suddenly, they all began to feel strange. The sensation grew so intense that Chengxi cried out in pain and realized she had broken through to the 8th martial arts rank. Gong Shu and Xiao Wu saw this and began cultivating as well. Meanwhile, Jia Yu was bleeding from his nose. When Meng Zui asked Chu Qing about it, he explained that the nosebleed would stop because the green dragon's ki nourished the snails they had eaten. These snails could increase one's power if consumed. He also told her that the snails would have reacted badly with the green dragon's stay inside her, which was why he didn't let her eat them. When she asked why he didn't eat any, he replied that he didn't need them. Suddenly, Jia Yu's golden eyes shone brightly as his power broke through. Excited, he offered to hold the purple bamboo stick so he could sense when they found new treasures in the river. However, Chu Qing refused, knowing Jia Yu wasn't strong enough to handle it. Only Gong Shu and Meng Zui were capable, but Meng Zui wasn't in the best condition, and Chu Qing didn't fully trust Gong Shu, so he had to keep holding the stick himself. Chu Qing was also surprised that the green dragon hadn't appeared yet, even after they had taken some of Yunjiang's luck. Meanwhile, Xu noticed a change in her compass and realized that some people had stolen Yunjiang's luck. She expected those who did this to meet a terrible fate. The bamboo changed color again, and while Zhai Yu was getting ready to dive into the river, Gong Shu pulled him back and jumped in herself. After some time, she resurfaced with a turtle. Zhai Yu cooked, and they all ate again. They continued cultivating and increased their realms. Chu Qing watched Gong Shu and thought that this might also be a good opportunity for Gong Yu. Later that night, Meng Zui noticed that Chu Qing's hands were bruised from holding the bamboo stick for so long. Meng Zui commented that catching the green dragon was harder than she had imagined, and asked Chu Qing what exactly the others were eating. Chu Qing told her not to worry about it. In truth, while Qingxi and the others were advancing their cultivation by absorbing Yunzhang's luck, Chu Qing was actually suffering from the backlash of Yunzhang's air luck. Meng Zui suggested they go back home, but Chu Qing insisted they had to keep going with what they had already started. She began cultivating to relieve his pain, but he stopped her. She started bleeding as well. Chu Qing told her he wouldn't do things he wasn't certain about and didn't want her to hurt their child. He told her he was tired and asked her not to distract him. Meng Zui kissed him and thanked him for helping her so much. Chu Qing felt good and realized that this feeling was missing in his past life. Gong Shu then informed Chu Qing that she had broken into the transformation realm, becoming the youngest warrior martial artist in her family. She thanked Chu Qing and promised to help him resolve the marriage contract issue for free. She also offered to help him carry the purple bamboo stick. As she carried it, she realized Chu Qing had been carrying the heavy stick for 3 days without any rest. Chu Qing carried Meng Zui and went to sleep. The next morning, Gong Shu was completely drained of energy as the purple bamboo had absorbed it all. Suddenly, something struck the purple bamboo from beneath the water, and Gong Shu wondered what it was. Hearing this, Chu Qing immediately woke up. The river suddenly became turbulent, almost capsizing their raft. Gong Shu began using her martial arts to fight the turbulence. Chu Qing placed one hand on the raft and used the other to guide it through the storm with his powers. The storm grew stronger, and Zhai Yu nearly fell off, but he grabbed onto Gong Shu. Gong Shu pushed Zhai Yu back onto the raft, but ended up falling into the river herself. Chu Qing quickly grabbed the bamboo rod to stop it from falling into the water and asked who would go after Gong Shu. Zhai Yu immediately jumped into the river and saved her. Gong Shu realized she still had a long way to go in her martial arts journey and shouldn't become overconfident because of her recent achievement. They saw the small golden fish that had caused the turbulence and were amazed by its power. Chu Qing explained that the fish was close to becoming a green dragon. He was surprised that the green dragon hadn't shown up yet, even after they had captured such a powerful carp. He suspected that something had happened to the green dragon. They continued their journey along the river. Chu Qing told them that once they reached the river's border, everyone should get off the boat. Meng Zui and Qingxi asked why, and he explained that they were about to uncover the foundation of the Yunjing River. The green dragon, which was supposed to appear, hadn't shown up, meaning something must have happened to it. Hearing this, Meng Zui and Qingxi protested, insisting they would accompany him. Meanwhile, Xu thought to herself that she hadn't even dared to travel by water and had chosen to go by land instead. But Chu Qing had taken the water route and repeatedly stolen Yunzhang's fortune, yet he was still alive. She suddenly noticed someone on Chu Qing's raft who was in the transformation realm and wondered who it could be. She knew it couldn't be Xing Lai, the only martial artist currently in that realm. Shocked, she realized it was Gong Shu, and everyone was amazed that she had reached the transformation realm at such a young age. Shu immediately ordered her group to cut down trees and quickly build a boat to catch up with them. A little while later, at a specific spot on the river, Chu Qing took out a purple bamboo stick and approached the water. He stirred the water with it, creating large waves. The second generation group, now on the water, saw this and wondered if Chu Qing was causing the waves. Chu confirmed that it was indeed him. Chu Qing used martial arts techniques, and suddenly, a black dragon jumped out of the river. When 2 women from the second generation group saw it, they immediately leaped after the dragon. Gong Shu saw them and quickly launched herself into the air, claiming they saw the dragon before the others. Chu Qing realized the black dragon had fainted, so he used a martial arts move to revive it. The black dragon roared loudly and dove back into the river. Chu Qing returned to his raft, and Gong Shu asked him why he let the dragon escape. He explained that the green dragon was already gone, and they couldn't capture the black dragon either because they had already taken most of Yunzhang's fortune. If they captured the black dragon too, there would be serious consequences they couldn't handle. Kai, one of the 3 powerful women from the second generation group, demanded that Chu Qing bow to her. Although the tradition of worshipping the empress had long been abolished, she did this deliberately to insult Chu Qing. Chu Qing responded that it depended on whether they could handle it, and then he knelt down. Shu immediately realized he was using his luck to worship Decay. She realized that his luck was strong enough to rival Yunjang's, and Decay couldn't handle it, so she quickly stepped in to protect Decay. But in the process she was hit by Chu Qing's luck, which left her severely injured. Jifi, the third of the powerful women in the second-generation group, saw this and attacked Chu Qing, but Gong Shu stepped in to defend him and struck Jifei. Chu Qing told them he wouldn't murder them and suggested they return as if nothing had happened at the Yunjing River. Chu Lan was shocked and couldn't believe that this was Chu Qing, as he had managed to oppose and defeat the three powerful women. After the second-generation group left, Chu Qing fainted from being exposed to Yunjang's intense spiritual energy. While he was unconscious, the group debated whether they should return, but Meng Zui said she wouldn't go back. Suddenly, Chu Qing woke up and asked if they would join him in going to the mountains to find the dragon's nest. They were shocked that such a thing existed. But he explained that the dragon's nest was not in the river but in the nearby mountains. They agreed to set out the next day. Later, after everyone had gone to sleep, Gong Shu asked Chu Qing to take a walk with her. During their walk, Gong Shu asked Chu Qing why he was so determined to catch the green dragon. Chu Qing explained the situation surrounding Meng Zui, and Gong Shu was surprised to learn that he was doing it for Meng Zui. She found herself even more attracted to him after hearing this. When they returned to the others, Chu Qing tied the black dragon's beard to a bamboo stick, which would help them locate the dragon's nest. They followed the direction indicated by the dragon beard, and after some time, Chu Qing sensed an arrow coming toward them. He quickly caught it in midair. Examining the arrow, Chu Qing realized that it was meant to harm humans, specifically martial artists in the 3rd and 4th ranks of the martial realm, rather than beasts. They also understood that there were 2 other groups in the forest aside from their own. Soon, they stumbled upon a dead body, and to their shock, Meng Zhu recognized the group the corpse belonged to. Gong Shu recognized the group as well, and Chu Qing wondered if she knew anything about them. He asked her, and she admitted that she did, but said the information wasn't useful at the moment. She also refused to tell him more. Chu Qing noticed Gong Shu's expression and figured that the people behind the woman who had been murdered were not simple. Another group discovered the body and burned it. As Chu Qing and his team continued, they encountered more traps, with more arrows being shot at them. Chu Qing mentioned that they were getting closer to the core area where the 2 groups were fighting. Suddenly, a branch stretched out and grabbed Jia Yu's legs, trying to drag him away. Gong Shu quickly saved him. More branches attacked, but Chu Qing used a martial arts technique to create a barrier around them for protection. Chu Qing explained that it was a spell related to the wood element, and that the person casting it was a monk. Since wood monks often hide in the treetops and blend in with the trees, Chu Qing spotted the monk and rushed toward her. That's it for today's recap. Give us a like and subscribe for more videos. See you next time.